Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, joined as always by Kyle Price. How's it going?
How do we do this again? I forget.
Just go ahead and keep talking while I connect my headphones here because they...
Did you switch over to wireless and it's going to make it better, you think?
are not connecting for some reason, which isn't great. We don't like that.
Well, guess what? Technical difficulties on the show. Who's surprised?
Let's try it one more time here. Let's see if this works. Turn Bluetooth on. Connected. All right. Let's see if this works.
Can you hear me?
Still doesn't work. What the fuck?
Plug it back in.
You know what? I think it might be in StreamYard here. Let's try that. Boom. Bluetooth. Test.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Here we go. What the fuck?
Well,
we are professionals.
We take time off, but nothing
changes. We professionally suck. I don't even have my fucking ring light here. We have stuff packed up because we've had open houses and people over to do inspections. It's a fucking shit show. I'll lift the camera here. Boxes galore, just boxes for packing and shit. Shit's serious. It's getting deep.
So you finally started packing now, huh?
Oh yeah, we actually started over the weekend. We're trying to get I leave on Saturday for 2 weeks. So I'm trying to do as much as I can now before I'm gone, because otherwise it's all on Terra.
I kind of like the all on Terra part.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure like my important stuff got boxed up. So I did all my books, I did all my memorabilia and stuff like that. So I'm making sure that, you know, the good stuff isn't touched by her dirty grubbing hands. So I don't want her selling my shit when I'm gone. It's been a busy few weeks, as we can all attest. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to George. Condolences. George lost his father. His wife suffered a medical emergency a couple of weeks ago as well. He's really been going through it. So the fact that he's here for us today and would have been here for us last week, I really appreciate that from him.
Absolutely.
But with all the shit everybody had going on, we thought it was best that we take that extra week off. And obviously, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm sure you'll get into it, but we did make the post that Kyle and Jess did lose their beloved Bailey. So shout out to them as well. Condolences to you guys. Rough couple of weeks.
It's been a shit month, man. Let's just put it that way. It's been a very up and down month, I guess.
It's almost over. You got that.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow we'll bring in some good luck.
I hope. Let's just get past. Get to August. Let's see what happens next month.
Right. Like it. I've always thought that, like, hey, you know what? Next year will be so great. And it's like they're all the same. Let's be honest. They all suck.
It all blends together nowadays, so it doesn't matter.
Amen to that. So what's new with you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know even where to catch up on, so I'm not going to go too much into it because we have a lot to get into today. But I'll just make it quick. And obviously, I've seen the last month we saw
Steve.
What's up, Steve? Finally, some shitty content to listen to my home. There you go. Obviously, you know, last month we saw a concert. We had medical emergency with our dog. Bailey passed away, like you mentioned. Sucks. Jess's dad's having some health issues the last couple weeks here. Friend of the show also having some issues. Won't get into it, but just, you know, we're having one of those things where it's been a weird month for everyone that I feel like I'm connected to, that I know. And I feel like it's just like me and Jess were talking about it today. And we're like, either the shoe's going to drop, either a shoe's going to drop. And I'd like to think that the Bailey shoe was the shoe dropping, but something's going to happen. And I don't know what. And I just have that weird anxiety feeling, you know, and we both
just waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah. And I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it's just one of those things where you just have a bad feeling about it. But with everything that's kind of bad happening lately, it's kind of like, you know, what's next? Like, we're just kind of waiting for what's next. Right. And we have a couple busy weekends. Like this weekend, I'm out of town. It's Friday, we're going to a concert in Cincy for Luke Combs. Dave Cleary gets married on Saturday. We're back for that. Next week, Jess is out of town. She's going to Chicago to one of her cousins is getting married. I'm home alone with the dogs because we couldn't put her in a kennel. I wasn't going to do that. And when everything got planned, we had planned for both dogs to be here. So we weren't going to put Bailey in the kennel. So she's gone. I'm alone for 4 days. Now, not that I can't survive without my wife for 4 days, but it's going to suck, right? But she's also in Chicago, and it makes me nervous. And then the weekend after that, her uncle gets married. So we got a boom, back to back busy August. So I'm hoping it flies by with nothing but great stuff and good news and whatnot, because the Price household needs it. And I think everyone that I know what's going on in people's lives. Everyone needs some good news lately, so that's what we're hoping for, and that's pretty much what's been up with me. I don't want to harbor on bad stuff. You have more exciting news, so let's get to the good news with
Yes
you.
and no. It took a while to get here. So yeah, long story short, we obviously have been in the home buying business, and we've been looking all over for houses, and it's been nonstop. I mean, it was a full-time job. We were literally, sometimes we would look at 3 houses in a night. Our realtor's been fantastic. She's super flexible. So if we're like, hey, we found these houses that popped up today, can we go take a look? She's like, all right, let's go. Let me see if I can get us in at 5. So she's been fantastic. Long story short, I'm not gonna bash people because, it's not my business. We agreed to buy a house in Olmsted Falls. We were really excited. 4 bedrooms, almost 3,000 square feet. It was awesome. Looked at exactly what we wanted. Basement, had a 3 seasons room, fenced in backyard, the works. We were so stoked. So we visit it. We love it. We put an offer in. I don't think we've done a show since all this shit happened. Wow, it's been that long. God damn.
It has been a long time.
What's crazy is, to me, it feels like this all happened a month ago, but it was 2 weeks ago. It really wasn't that long. Mike really didn't want me to be to live in Olmsted Falls.
I was excited for it to be in Olmsted Falls because honestly, I think we mapped it. It wouldn't be like a 15-minute drive to your house, which would be
It was
ideal,
in a location. It was basically on the corner, or like on the border of Strongsville, Middleburg, Berea, Olmsted Falls. They were all like right there. It was in a perfect location. We were really, really happy about it. But I guess everything happens for a reason, as they say. So we put an offer in on this house. They're a little nervous about us being contingent on the sale of our home. Our realtor tries to talk to them and say, hey, basically, their house is going to sell. They live in Brook Park. They have a well-kept home. It's going to go in by the end of the weekend. So she tries to explain that to them. They go, well, we still want to think about it. So the next day, they're still nervous about the contingency. So would you guys be willing to remove the contingency from your offer? Sure. So we do it. Okay, then it turns into, well, now they have a second offer. Do you guys want to up your offer a little bit? And we just said, no, we're not waiting around. We're not playing this bidding war bullshit. Give them a deadline. This was a Tuesday. We're like, 8 o'clock tonight, deadline. That's that. Next thing you know, they push this deadline. It's I'm leaving work at 3:30, and we're like, okay, they still haven't given an answer. What the fuck? So we ask our realtor, we're like, well, since they're not answering, can we go look at other houses? Because we found a couple that we really like. She's like, sure, of course. So we go look at one in Brunswick. I sent you this one with the pool.
Yeah.
Tara and I fall in love. This house was literally like the perfect home that we were both like, holy fuck. So we're leaving. It's 7:50. We put that deadline at 8 o'clock for this Olmsted house. Still nothing. We call our realtor, 7:55. She goes, we still haven't heard anything. So we said, you know what? Fuck it. Pull it. We love this Brunswick house. We're going all in on this Brunswick house. So we make a huge offer. We pull from Olmsted. Turns out the Brunswick people claim they wanted to just take the best offer that they get. Next thing you know, they take a different offer anyway for quote unquote personal reasons, is what they said, which to us is probably a cash offer. Yeah, what's up, Chipper? We assume based on how nice and cool this house was that this is because someone's buying it with cash to turn it into an Airbnb or a rental property, because it is sick. So it is what it is. We lost out. We're like, fuck it. Then we happen to go back on the app and we look and we go, oh, that Olmsted house is still available. What happened?
All the naked swimming I had in my mind at your house was insane.
So much. That's all I thought of was just my nude friends in the backyard. So then we're like, you know what? This Olmsted house is still available. It still says, for sale. So we reach out and we're like, could we make another offer on this one? And our realtor goes, yeah, of course. So we make another offer. We did not remove the contingency. We made a lower offer than the first time by about $15,000, and they took it. We're like, okay, cool. We got a house. We're so fucking pumped. Our house gets listed the next day for sale. We have open houses. We have showings. We're getting offers. Everything's fucking awesome. Then we have the inspection of the Olmsted house. Did not go well. Yeah. So what we thought was a perfect home turned out to be a very neglected home. And again, I'm not going to speak ill of the owners. I don't know what their lives are like or what they do. Who knows? Who cares? It's not my problem. Just too many problems, too many things wrong. So we decide to pull. We're backing out. We don't want this house anymore. But our house is up. It's technically sold right now. They just did their inspection of our house on Monday. It's Wednesday now. Still haven't heard anything. They're doing a radon test. So the radon machine is actually still in the basement. The guy's coming to pick that up tomorrow. Assuming there's no radon, haven't heard anything from the buyers about any issues. So we assume the sales is good as good. We're done. Meanwhile, we're going, fuck, we have to find a house now because we have to be out of here by September 1st. So we're looking at houses, 2 a night, 3 a night. We're finding as much as we can. Last Friday rolls around. We found a house in Strongsville we both loved. We go look at it. We said, you know what, let's make an offer. So we make an offer, wait a couple days. They sleep on it. Yesterday, boom, accepted. Done deal. We're setting up our inspection for that house tomorrow. They do have septic, which we're okay with because we found out it's a fairly newer septic system that they have. So those things last like 50 plus years. So we're not too concerned about it.
Is that where you have the tank in the back? It has to get like whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a septic there, which also means we don't have to pay for a sewer bill because it's septic, which is kind of nice.
That's good.
So then I told my sister, I'm like, dude, I'm just going to move in with you. Like, we're going to have to move into your basement because we're kind of fucked. So they agreed to our deal, the Strongsville house. Small world, actually. Safety Steve in the comments there. He actually knows the people that currently own that house. It was a ex-coworker of his. So small fucking world. But they're doing the inspection on that tomorrow. They're doing the septic inspection on Monday. And assuming everything goes well, we're good to go.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We will be having our closing date on the 21st. Of course, though, I leave for Germany on Saturday for 2 weeks, so ideal timing.
Here's the best part. There's the worst part coming up. It's the underwriting part of the loan, which is like the worst. That was the most stressful time for Jess and I. Granted, you guys have gone through shit with this whole house buying, but for us, the underwriting, the waiting to make sure you don't touch anything in your bank, to make sure you don't buy any new purchases and shit like that. You have to be really tight, right? That sucked, like having to get everything cleared for the bank, but hopefully it goes smooth for you guys. That was my most stressful point, though.
Yeah, I think we're good. We've already done like all the they looked over our bank accounts and everything already, so we already got cleared. I think we're good. I don't know how this works, but
yeah, it goes to underwriting. It's a whole paperwork process. It goes to underwriting and then sits an underwriter who then goes
Steve
back.
Says he's leaving everything behind for me. Tell me more, Steve. I want to know more about this.
That's great.
Yeah, so we'll do all that. We'll get all that taken care of as the time passes. But yeah, looks like everything's going to work out. Finally, took a nice stressful week that we had, but such is life. On the fun side, we've been nonstop busy. We went to Coe Lake in Berea for a concert. They have concerts there like every Friday. This was like 3 weeks ago, I think we went. Awesome time with some friends, packed. Couldn't believe how crowded it was. We went to Kelly's Island. Tara had her birthday. We did so much. We went to a concert on Monday. We went to the Sad Summer Festival with the Wonder Years. Oh, there's an early burp for me. These Happy Dads, very carbonated. Unofficial sponsor of tonight, Happy Dad.
Because you're a happy dad. There you go.
Wall to wall. Go. I come home from work. We got to start packing now. Last week it was, we got to start looking at houses. We have to do this. We have to do that. It's just go. Kind of looking forward to Germany.
Good time.
And well, yes and no. So it sucks because everyone's like, "Are you excited?" Yes, I am. I think it'll be cool. I get to go to another country. But I'm going there for work, so I am great. Thank you for asking. But that's the one shitty thing is I'm going, but I'm not going for a vacation. I still have to get up every day, go to the office, work, find stuff to do afterwards in a foreign country.
Did you download Google Translate on your phone so you can?
I didn't yet. I'm going to, but everyone in Germany for the most part speaks English. It's like a second language for most people. And I'm going with a lot of people that I know that work in Germany and are from Germany, so they'll be hanging out with me and shit, I'm sure. So
dirty American,
I'll make it work.
To another country.
Yeah, there he is. Grape, what's up, dude? Grape has been
thanks, Grape.
Driving people around from the airport. He's been picking up wrestlers all day today for coming in for SummerSlam. He said he got to meet Mark Henry and shit like that today.
Mark Henry? Back on WWE? Yeah. I thought he was at AEW. That's crazy.
He says he's in town.
Dude, I'm so sad I'm missing SummerSlam. I wish I honestly, I'm glad Dave's getting married this weekend, but that would have been great to go to. Like, I drove by the stadium twice yesterday, and just seeing all the banners up on the side of the stadium, it's kind of cool. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed I can't go. So initially, when my
we do
you
not
need advertising expert, we do not. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate the offer. When my Germany trip was initially booked, it was to be, damn, George hated that guy. It was initially supposed to be the second half of August. Adam, what's up, dude? Star of the show. Thanks for checking in. So it's supposed to be the second half of August, but there's people that are going to be, apparently August is like a huge vacation month in Europe. So they were like, yeah, you got to move this up 2 weeks because everyone's going to be on vacation when you come here. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll go by myself. I was supposed to go with a bunch of coworkers, but not going to work. So I'm leaving Saturday, going to be gone for 2 weeks. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Going to have a good time. Dave, what's up, man? We are back. It feels good to be back. I'm feeling the love from everybody.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Just I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here in my head, I'm trying to remember where I put my ring light because I know how dark it looks right now, and I don't remember where the fuck I put it. So
I kind of like the side image of your face there.
Yeah, I opened up the patio door, but when that sun goes down, it's game over. There's nothing I can do at this point.
Just move closer to the camera. We'll look at your eyes.
Yeah, I'll just zoom in, and you guys can see the dark fucking bags under my eyes from the lack of sleep. But yeah, no, it's been cool. We've been keeping busy, doing fun shit. Like I said, we went to Kelly's Island the week after Tara's birthday. For Tara's birthday, we went to the Guardians game. We take Teddy everywhere. Where we go, she go is the motto for us. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks, but honestly, to me, Chipper, I swear to God, it feels like we haven't done an episode in 2 months at least.
The amount of news that's taken place in 3 weeks, it feels like it's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, I really was looking at tickets. This was, again, before I had my Germany trip planned out. I was looking at tickets, and I was like, fuck that. They want like $400 for like upper deck. No way I was paying that. I was like, I'll just watch from home. Now I got to hope I have Wi-Fi and I can watch it on a plane because I'm going to be in the air.
And I'll be honest, like the card, like looking at the card, it doesn't look that impressive. Like it looks like maybe 2 matches to me look like it's worth watching. The others are meh. So watching it at home would be the best thing for me if I was able to watch it.
I honestly haven't even been following lately because, again, I've been so fucking busy. I haven't been watching anything. I haven't been sports gambling hardly. It's just life is consuming right now. I'm looking forward to the fresh start, getting to the new house. It's a fucking huge yard. I'm really bummed about that part. A lot of grass to cut. They own a second plot next door. It's 1.5 acres. A lot of fucking land.
Because you cut the grass now. Come on.
I unfortunately do. That's the one thing Tara makes me do. My one manly task is cutting the grass. I cook. I do the dishes. Moving to Strongsville, Dave. Assuming everything goes well with the inspection. Not far from
time to hit up Greg about lawnmower. Oh no, he doesn't work there.
He works at mowing. Yeah, if I need a fucking kitchen sink or a faucet, I can talk to Greg. That son of a bitch. He switched jobs at the worst possible time.
You need to get one of those automatic robot ones. My neighbor down the street here, every time I go by, I'll have this thing out this button slowly cutting grass. It does it.
Well, my problem is that there are 2 bridges in my backyard because there's the creek.
It maps out your yard, so maybe just map it to go over the bridge. Problem solved.
Go over 2 bridges. There's a lot of hills and shit. I feel like I'm gonna need like 4 of those, which I don't get me wrong. I'm not afraid to get.
Time for that zero turn lawnmower now.
I'm used to being able to literally cut my grass in like a half hour. George talked to me. George has a guy who landscapes. I already asked my buddy, and he does landscaping. And I was like, I wonder if it's that much. I really don't know. I've never hired anybody to do the shit. And he said it would cost about $120 for him to come every 2 weeks. And I was like, that's a little steep. Man.
I feel like that's like a hit to the manhood, letting someone else touch your grass. Like that's just my opinion.
I could give a fuck less. Don't care one bit. Whoever wants to cut it, I would let anybody cut it. Like I long for the days where kids in the neighborhood would walk by and be like, hey, you want me to cut your grass for $10? I'd be like, fuck yeah, little Timmy, come on in, cut it. Get to work. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I'd freak out. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I'll let Chipper cut it. He's got to wear a Steelers thong, though. That's the only stipulation.
At least make it brown. For
it. It'll be brown after, but it's not because it was a Browns one. We were keeping busy. Again, Tara had her birthday. We did a bunch of shit.
How old is she? 40 something?
36, dude. She's old as fuck.
She got
Old as
those-
fuck.
She got those wrinkles going on right here. What they call crow's feet.
I was had him crow's feet, big time. Old as hell. She's the old maid. Robbing the cradle, going after the young meat. I'm almost a full year younger than her. You know, when you think about it, it's creepy.
She definitely robbed the cradle. What am I talking about? My wife's 4 years younger than I am, so I definitely
That's
robbed the
true.
cradle.
But yeah, no. So we went to Kelly's Island for the first time. Took Teddy. That was cool.
Never been to Kelly's Island.
That was my first time. Yeah, it was really cool. It's essentially agreed, Chip. It's essentially a more tame version of Put-in-Bay. They have
the adult version of Put-in-Bay, I guess.
like 10% of the bars. They have a winery, which I know Put-in-Bay does as well, but they have Kelly's Island has multiple wineries. We only made it to one though because we didn't take a car. We walked. A lot of people on Kelly's Island just you drive your car right onto the ferry.
Right.
Ferries you right over. You just drive around, but we just said fuck it, we'll walk because there was only one main strip.
Where'd you get on the
So we
boat
did
at? What dock?
Or
Or
I
what
don't know. I
city?
just Googled. Honestly, I don't even know. I just Googled Kelly's Island ferry, and I just drove to whatever the map told me to. It was past Sandusky. I know that.
Oh, past Sandusky. Oh, so you're probably up by like Port Clinton and stuff where we went for Andrews.
Yeah, Kelly's Island is probably about. I think it was like an hour and 15-minute drive from my
Okay.
house.
Okay.
So it's a little. It's past Cedar Point. Greg is in the waiting room. We're not going to him yet, but Miller Ferry, that might be it. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, so we went to Kelly's Island. That was cool. Went to the Guardians game for her birthday. Went to a concert on Monday, Teddy's first concert. Kind of bummed. I really wanted her to see the Wonder Years. Wonder Years are a top 2 band of mine. And she hung in there. We got to see Real Friends. We got to see Knuckle Puck. And then another band called, what were they called? We the Kings. Never really listened to them. Heard of them, but I've never listened to them. And then right when the Wonder Years were getting ready to go on, Tara's like, all right, I got to take her. She's got to eat. And I didn't bring an extra bottle. So Tara walked over to my brother-in-law's condo. And that was it. There's no re-entry. So she took her out and she was done for the concert. So I watched the Wonder Years without her. But right before the Wonder Years came on stage, they dropped their curtain down and it said the Wonder Years. So I took a picture, or Tara took a picture of me holding her with that backdrop. I bought a t-shirt from this tour of the Wonder Years specifically just to remember that this was her first show, and had a great time. Had a blast. They put on a great time, and it
a
was
lot of people down there.
Not really. I mean, it was a good crowd, but it wasn't like super packed, which was, thank God. We had some shit weather here on Monday afternoon, so I'm wondering if that kept a lot of people away, but it cleared up and it was fine for the rest of the night. I'm trying to think of what else we did. Honestly, I mean, house hunting and packing and being adults has consumed most of our time. Kyle and I went to the National Card Show, memorabilia show, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday. We met up there. We saw
Nuts
the
to
got
butts.
Greg.
My God, man.
It was
fucking
packed. The entry line was ridiculous. It looked like a Kamala Harris convention. It was so crowded. I saw that eye roll. But no, it was a really good time. It was fun to go. I've actually never been. Didn't end up buying anything, to be honest, but that's because I'm house hunting. So at the time I was like, you know what? No frivolous spending. I don't know what my situation's going to be. I don't know what kind of room I'm going to have to work with to display things. And I don't think Tara really wants me to go.
Nothing even stuck out though. Like we walked around at the end quickly, kind of looking around, and I saw some stuff that looked cool, but like the prices were just to me, the prices were outrageous. I could have gone online probably and found that stuff on eBay for cheaper and had it authenticated. Like same thing. Yeah.
$30 to get in, George. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing with these shows is everyone upcharges because they want you to haggle. So you have to go in there and you have to say, hey, this card you have for $130. Will you take $100? And then they go, okay, yeah. But then if you look up comps, it's like, I could get this on eBay for, like Kyle said, I could get the same thing for probably $80 to $90. So yeah, it's a $10 upcharge to buy it here, which isn't the end of the world. But at the same time, it's like, I just don't need anything.
Yeah, like it's funny is that Leprechaun. So I was looking for Funkos, right? Just to add to my Funko wall downstairs because I collect a shit ton of them. But that one that was signed by the actor who played the Leprechaun, I think they were selling it there. Like at least 2 of the vendors were selling it for like 150. I looked up on eBay. I can get it on eBay for like $50. I'm like, I just don't understand
the movie.
The movie Leprechaun, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what is it? Warwick Davis, I think his name was.
I believe so. It was like 150. I'm like, but you can get that on eBay for like $50 or $60, I think.
Yeah, he's a guy who, like, I still look up auction sites all the time, and I like to see what's going out there. He's on there a lot. Yeah. Oh, Adam, it was fucking everything, dude. They had cards. They had pictures, posters, Ric Flair robes, anything you could think of, dude. They had everything. They had Trump autographs everywhere. People were that fucking picture of him with the fist up. That was all. Everyone was trying to sell a fucking 8x10 of that to somebody.
His signature alone, I think, was $5,000 minimum on some of the.
Yes, somebody was trying to charge $5,000 for that, which was crazy. And it was a horrible. I have the picture. It was a picture of him trying to throw a baseball. He looked super unathletic, and I'm sure somebody out there would spend $5,000 on it, which is fucking nuts. But yeah, it was really cool to be there. I mean, it was awesome. Greg had a fucking blast. We could talk about that with him when we pull him on here in a second. I'm glad he had a great time. And yeah, like they had a Ric Flair. I think it was an actual like
the original, one of the original
ring worn robe. They had it in a huge display case. I don't think it was for sale. It was from like, I think it was Pristine. No, it wasn't Pristine. I forgot who it was. It was one of the bigger companies, maybe PSA or JSA or something. I forgot who, whatever. But all those companies were there representing. They had, big ticket items in framed cases. So you could look at it. Upper Deck had a display. They had Kobe autos, Tiger Woods, LeBron James. Like, it was really cool to see all that shit. However, yeah.
Heritage auctions.
Yeah, whatever. I'm going to remember that. There's so many.
I don't know. Greg called you a doof, so I just want to repeat.
Greg's offended that I don't remember every auction house that was there.
His official show name is Triple G, so we have to make sure we address him correctly.
Triple G. Speaking of Triple G, let's take him to Flavortown right now. No, I'm not talking about Guy's Grocery Games. I am talking about Guardian Guy Greg. Let's bring him in. Let him talk about the National for a minute while I look for my ring light.
There he is.
Hey,
Greg, what's up? What's going on?
Oh, just trying to recover from 5 days at the National.
I would think your bank account's doing the same.
You are a committed person, my friend.
I didn't spend the whole budget. Some went back into the bank.
That's true. You were 75% under, you said, right?
Yeah. And Heritage was there. Their big thing is they have the Babe Ruth jersey that he wore when he called a shot in the World Series against the Cubs. So that was their big thing. Don't know if you guys saw that. It was on display.
I did see that. Wasn't it auctioned off or whatever? What did it go for?
No, it's auctioning off right now. And they started the projection at $20 million. And
that's it?
When they opened it, like an opening bid came in for $10 million. So they jacked that projection up to $30 million. But you can buy it if you got a few millions lying around.
Greg, the floor is yours to talk about some of your purchases over the weekend at the National, some of your autographs, stuff like that. I'm going to look in my closet really quick and try to find my ring light. And while I do that, have at it.
Yep, it was a blast. Bought some old baseball cards. I tend to like the pre-World War II old T206 tobacco cards. Bought a couple of those.
AKA Kyle's high school years.
Hey, just walk away from the camera, asshole.
I found it. I was quick.
Met Jim Thome, had him sign a bat. Met Tito Francona. He was charging like $80. He's got one Guardians Cleveland autograph card. The top's now that's going for $120, so that wasn't that bad.
That's not bad.
And I ended up doing a solid for this dude Gordon. Just randomly met on the internet. Put a our baseball cards message out saying, "Hey, I love Mike Piazza. I bought $600 worth of meet and greet and autograph tickets at the National, and my appendix burst on Sunday. If anyone is willing to go get me an autograph, you can have the meet and greet and an autograph." So sussed it out. Figured it was low risk for me. I was going to be there anyways. Had a 5-day pass. Was able to pick up his autograph tickets and got a picture with Mike Piazza. Got him on a ball. I got my dude Gordon's his own catcher's mitt signed.
That's awesome.
It's a fucking sick deal. I remember you telling me about that. That's insane.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife. Feeding kids while I was in the Mike Piazza line.
And shout out to Kyle and Justin who played
Kyle
and Justin. Did a great job.
The Return of the Ring, The Hobbit, The Adventures of the Hobbit across the convention.
I didn't get to tell you at all, Greg, because you were in the zone there. But when we were walking, I take that back. When Jason was walking us to find Lindsay, he was going, and you're like, "Hey, he knows where he's going." And we were a little bit behind him, and I'm letting him lead the way, and he's like taking these weird turns. And I finally just go, "I thought you knew where he was going, or I thought you knew where you were going." He just started laughing. He's like, "I do." But we kept an eye on the eBay booth, but he got a little lost a couple times, but it was all good.
He got that. What was that?
Jamar Chase card.
Jamar Chase card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guy just walks up to him and goes, "Hey, can he have this?" We're like, "Yeah, sure. Fuck it."
He prefers candy out of a van.
He opened his eBay slab pack today and got a Logan O'Hoppe, Bowman rookie card, fuchsia parallel to 299 in a SGC 9.
No shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, of all the people, eBay spent so much money. They said they spent 20 grand on those slab packs. They were giving Zion cases away to kids, left every 5 minutes. The last day I came up, they had Andre Dawson breaking Topps tier 1 with them, who didn't know what was going on, but he was like throwing autograph cards into the crowd, handing out Zion cases. Like, I was hanging around there as they were tearing down Sunday. They were giving away those magnetic slab holders from Zion. They were giving away magnet. Oh yeah, I've got like a dozen of those now. Like eBay they just went nuts. Free stuff, so much free stuff from eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I got one of those slab packs, and I ended up coming away with a Hulk Hogan, which was, I mean, I looked it up. It's like a $25 card.
Yeah, mine was a Topps Chrome Future Stars Adley Rushman rookie SGC 10.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, like so. I did find out Sunday, the last day, the move is to just hang around the corporate booths as they clean up, and they don't want to take the giveaway. They just start handing everything out. So came away with spent a bunch of money, came away with so much free stuff. You know, met some awesome people who have way more expensive cards than me, but just generally had a blast. Like, and to your point with the pricing, I found like 75% of guys were way high over eBay. So you do have to go around and see like whose prices are lower and who's willing to negotiate.
I felt like I was in your sewing room for a minute there, Chipper, with no electricity.
I had to turn my ring light on too, aka my kitchen light, so I feel better now.
Well, I was trying to, right before we got on here, obviously, again, I'm fucking busy as hell, so I'm trying to tape up boxes. I got dinner going on the stove. Tara's outside watching Teddy, hanging out with her, so I'm trying to do 8 things. Then I look at the clock and I go, oh, fuck, it's 6:55. I should probably get my stuff plugged in. And then I get it all going and I look and I go, where the fuck did I hide my light? Because a couple weeks ago, we haven't done a show in a while. I hid all my stuff because we have open houses and people coming in, so we're hiding some of our shit to make it look presentable in here. And forgot where I put half of it. So that was a nice pain in the ass for the 2-minute drill that I had to fucking plug everything in and make sure it all worked. I don't know what time you tuned in, Greg, but I didn't even have headphones working for the first like 5 minutes of the show. Couldn't hear anything.
Not technical difficulties on this show. No, that never happens.
No, self-inflicted. I own it. I'm okay with it. But so the main reason we got Greg on here is to talk about the Major League Baseball trade deadline that ended yesterday. And the Guardians came away with some middle of the pack moves, I guess would probably be the best way to put it. I know a lot of fans, I don't know what they were expecting. I don't know what Guardians fans could look at the trade deadline for this team and go, man, I just thought they were going to do more. This team tends to not make drastic moves, and I'm okay with that because they have a successful history with keeping prospects and making trades work out. And when they do make a trade, they rarely lose them. That's one thing I can say about this front office is a lot of times we trade a guy who you're like, what the fuck? He was a top prospect. Then he goes to another team and really doesn't amount to anything.
Unless we trade with Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. Tampa's another team that's built just like the Guardians where they can take a guy and they can turn him into something. So shout out, kudos to them. But yeah, so the Guardians came away with a couple of trades. I texted Greg this morning. I wanted to get his opinion on it because I was like, well, I'd like to talk about it on the show. And then I thought about it and I'm like, I'd rather just have Greg explain it if he can make it. So that's why Greg is here. So Greg, take it away. Talk to us. Give us your grades on the trade deadline for the Guardians. If you want to talk about some other teams and their moves as well, feel free. And I know you had some other topics you wanted to talk about regarding the Dolans and their cheapness, which who saw that coming?
Nobody.
Everybody in this town hates that.
It's all tied together with the trade deadline. So they trade for 2 guys. First guy, Lane Thomas, outfielder. He's like the next Brandon Guyer, Ryan Rayburn, Jordan Luplow, but slightly better. He's a platoon outfielder. He absolutely mashes lefties. If you're familiar with the stat, weighted runs created plus, it's basically a normalized stat, puts your offense where 100's league average. If you're at like 150, that means you're 50% better than the average hitter. So his career against righties, he's 88. So 12% worse than league average. Against lefties, 141, 40% better. This year, he's at like 156, over 50% better than your average hitter against lefties. Mashes lefties. He's really fast, has a lot of base running value, does steal a lot of bases, also gets thrown out a lot, but it kind of balances out. In the field, he has horrible range. If you bring up his StatCast page, his range is like the 3rd percent. So 97% of outfielders have better range than him. But
Okay.
he's got a 98th percentile arm. So he's not going to catch the ball. But when he gets to it, if they try and take an extra base, he'll gun them down.
You better hold up. Okay, I like that.
He throws a lot of guys out from the outfield. So that kind of balances out to an average outfielder.
I did like yesterday his first game as a Guardian, running on probably little sleep. He had just gotten traded. I think he was in Arizona or something like that. They flew him into Detroit for the day game, and he got a base hit late in the game and was attempting to steal when Jose Ramirez hit a home run to bring him in. So I thought that was kind of funny that like his first hit as a Guardian, he's like, all right, fuck it, stealing a base now too. I know it's not his decision. I just thought it was funny timing. But yeah, no, it's cool that they're really trying to utilize him and make that move. But
and if you look at the advanced stats rate, he has a really high barrel percent. So he really squares up the ball. Last year, he hit 28 homers, which was a career high. This year, he had a knee injury in early April that kind of slowed him down. And he's more of a singles and running guy. So, he'll fit right in on the Guardians this year.
Yeah.
But as his knee heals, maybe some of that power will come back. So I like that move. We didn't really give up much for him.
No.
Jose Tena, one of our million middle infielders who now aren't going to play because our future middle infielders, Bazana and Jimenez. Clemmy, like an A-ball pitcher. You may have heard the phrase, tin stap. There's no such thing as a pitching prospect. And the Guardians just drafted 17 pitchers out of 21 picks in this last draft. So we're down to
set for a couple years.
Yeah, we're down to 4 minor league teams. You need roster spots for all those guys. So pretty sure they're going to be able to develop some of them into good ones because it's what they do. So that's not really worried about that. Really didn't give up much. That's a solid deal. Again, platoon bat, but he's not like Miles Straw against righties, at least, I'd say like
nobody is
league average. So solid, sent Will Brennan down. He'll be way better than him.
Did you see Bazana hit a grand slam today?
No.
He fucking crushed it, dude.
Nice.
It was pretty sweet. I was watching some highlights earlier today for the late. Yeah, there it is. There, Steve just said the same thing. Yeah, it was his first home game for the Lake County Captains, and he fucking crushed a grand slam. They were up they were already winning by like fucking 5 runs or something like that. So it was just an ass kicking, but really cool to see.
Yep. And then the other move, kind of disappointing. First of all, Antonetti's been talking about Matthew Boyd for weeks, so you knew they were going to try and play him as in the plan, but who knows? Coming back from Tommy John.
It's tough.
If he can, they just need somebody to give them innings to get to the playoffs. Because the other guy they traded for,
not cutting it.
What's that?
I said because Carrasco's not cutting it anymore.
No, he's horrible. I mean, love Cookie, but he sucks.
Yeah,
he's ancient. He's like 37. He's like,
I don't even know if I'm comfortable with him going into the bullpen at this point.
No.
Like, he's such a liability. Like, I know in the beginning of the season, everybody was hinting at that of like, yeah, Carrasco can just move to the bullpen. It'll be great. But I'm like, at this point, I don't even know if I want him on the postseason roster.
You just put him on the IL with like shoulder inflammation or something made up. Keep him around for the vibes.
Old age.
Roster spot. But then you probably know they traded for Alex Cobb from the Giants.
Yep.
One-time ace, had hip surgery last year.
Old man Cobb.
Coming back. Has then had some shoulder nerve issues in his shoulder.
And blisters.
And then had blisters in his last start. So this dude hasn't pitched at all. And they're saying he's going to have one more rehab start after that blister heals. Then he's going to be back.
He was an all-star last year, though, right?
What's that?
He was an all-star last year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He was an all-star last year. So this has a chance to be a good move.
The talent is there. Yeah.
The talent's there. And if we can get through the regular season, he's a guy you can start in a playoff game if he's himself. All of a sudden, him, Bybee, Williams, and Lively in a playoff game, that's pretty solid. You may even can skip Lively. But that's a big if. Is he healthy? Nobody knows. Only good thing, we didn't give up anything for him. Gave up an A-ball pitcher who we drafted last year. He was our second-round pick last year, but again, no such thing as a pitching prospect. Guys can get hurt. He has this weird motion. Who knows? Maybe he's good. Maybe he's not. Super risky prospect and a player to be named later. So
Question though, like I guess the biggest thing I see on people like on Reddit stuff is like why are they not rolling the dice on Bauer again? Like why not? I mean, just as like a relief pitcher, right? Someone to come in out of the whatever to help out in long terms settings. I think he'd be great at that. Why are they not rolling the dice on him?
So what I've heard, and I listened to a podcast, I believe it was called Breaking Balls. And they had his
infringement on the name here, boys.
Yeah, they're going to be hearing from our lawyers.
It's baseball themed.
I know.
Just a warning. I found it really hard to listen to. It's
okay. Perfect. Then I'm definitely going to sue him. We have a copyright. We own any podcast with the name Balls in it. They owe us. They have to owe us money.
But they had his main accuser on, who talked about a lot of things. And the thing that came out of it is I listened to like an hour and a half of this. I wish I could have just listened to the 10 minutes that was important, but she went through the investigative process with MLB, and there's a lot of stuff that didn't come out in court that apparently came out during the MLB investigation. She said the MLB investigators went hard. They wanted to protect MLB. And basically what she claimed is there's video out there of Bauer sexually assaulting unconscious women, and MLB has it. And so she's saying no team will touch him with a 10-foot pole, because if a contract comes through, MLB is going to send the team that video and be like, do you really want to do this? And well, it's just her word against his. The agreement was sealed. Bauer won't let anything be released. It really makes sense to me as to why he's stuck in the Mexican League. She's like, there's a video of him assaulting unconscious women. And she said there's so many more women who didn't want their name in court docs, didn't want the publicity, that came in to the confidential MLB disciplinary hearing and testified. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I have the same question, Kyle, right? Like in court, he was cleared, but it seems like it's really bad. MLB has a lot of evidence that never saw a court. And because of it, that's the only reason why no team would touch him, because we've seen teams do a lot of deplorable things for wins, and you'd think he'd be on somebody's radar, but no one's touched him with the 10-foot pole. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've been partially right then, because I've had a lot of people talk to me and ask me, they go, how is Trevor Bauer just sitting out there? How can you not use him? And there's a million people that are, for a living, they cover the Guardians. And a lot of them have said, there are 30 Major League Baseball teams. They said if the Guardians are 31st on the list of teams to sign Trevor Bauer, they want nothing to do with him. And that's just before even any of this information came to surface. Basically, the Guardians, obviously, they don't want a reunion. But for the rest of Major League Baseball, my assumption that I just assumed, again, I knew nothing of this story that you're talking about until today. My thought was basically he's blacklisted because of his open shit talking of Rob Manfred. And I just assumed that basically Major League Baseball is just never going to let him back because of the allegations are horrendous. So don't get me wrong. I understand that part of it, but he also would openly mock Major League Baseball and talk bad about them. And I just assumed no team's going to touch this guy. Like he's a cancer. No one's going to touch him. But to know that it's even deeper than that there's possible videos and evidence and, a whole Ray Rice situation going on, basically, that makes even more sense. But I always just assume that he's blacklisted. That's at the end of the day, that's the best way to describe it.
Such a talent too, man. He's still, I know it's a Mexican league, but you see some of the highlights, right? He's still doing a great stuff with the ball, right? Which sucks that this whole thing's going on, because he'd be on any great roster right now, I think.
What's kind of funny is he's the real life Kenny Powers. He's trying to resurrect his career in the Mexican League. He talks a little bit of shit. He's got some off the field issues, and he's trying to make a Major League Baseball comeback. So
a little bit of shit. When they mic him up, it's golden. Like listening to him talk shit to the batters, it's golden. I like that. But
yeah, I was a big Bauer fan. But yeah, that definitely basically seals his fate that there's no comeback.
Learn something new. Thanks, Greg. I didn't know that. That's great.
And we'll preface all this with the word allegedly, so no one can come after us.
Right.
True.
Again, if you want to listen to yourself, the Breaking Balls podcast, it's so painful. A lot of yes, girl, speak your truth, girlfriend.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Are they dudes?
No. So
it's a
woman host.
Okay. Yeah,
it's really hard to listen to.
I'll never listen to that.
Yeah, but if you can make it through that hour and a half, which no one else should, I took the hit. But I was curious. I heard there was good info, and it seems like, yeah, he did some really horrible things. Allegedly did some horrible things. Allegedly, videos exist, and that's why he'll never see a major league roster again.
I don't know how the legal system works at all. I'll start with that. But it's crazy to me to think that there's a video of him committing a horrendous crime that they're like, well, we're just going to put it in our pocket. We're going to keep this one for later. And like, there's no criminal charges or anything happening for that. That's fucking bananas to me, but I guess that's the world we live in.
I'm going off memory. Supposedly the woman who was on it did not want to press charges, did not want that video of, her in.
Oh, so it wasn't of the girl that was on the podcast.
No, it was a girl that wasn't.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense then. I gotcha.
Yeah, not the girl on the podcast. But
it would make sense why it didn't get introduced to court. That's probably why, because it wasn't.
Yeah, there's a group chat of all his victims, and it was another woman in the group chat that, yeah, she didn't want it in court. She didn't want her face plastered everywhere. She didn't want her, sexual assault, sex tape just out there. So that's why I totally understand that.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely.
The sealed hearing with MLB, it's like, if you keep it a secret, here you go, is what they said. So
okay.
But yeah. So, anyways, you did ask me to grade the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yes.
I downgraded my earlier grade that I texted you.
Okay, so you started with. Well, I'll let you go ahead and give your grade.
I'm gonna give a C. Downgrade from a B minus.
That's a significant difference.
Yeah, they just could have done more. Like, it's Lane Thomas is a platoon bat. He's a solid upgrade. He'll help. Who knows? Maybe Alex Cobb comes in and wins 2 World Series games. He's back to his normal self. But they just needed one pitcher who's healthy and good and hold it down. And it even could have been a reliever. There were a lot of relievers out there that went for cheap because we have the best bullpen, but they're young guys who are in their first season hitting the most innings they've ever thrown.
Yep.
Throw another reliever in there, and we can throw relievers for 6 innings of each playoff game.
For as great as these guys have been in the regular season, who knows how they're going to perform when it's, a game 7 against the Yankees or, whatever, if we're deep into the playoffs.
And the guy I wanted was another starter, was Blake Snell. And that's purely not happening because of money. If you don't know, he's making a bunch of money this year. Reports were this year they could take on up to $20 million. But he has an option for $30 million next year.
Yep.
And apparently that was a no-go. And that comes down to the TV contract. So we've got some inside sources. And apparently their TV deal this year is for $65 million, which is really good. Previously, it was out there that their deal was $40 to $45 million a year. So significantly above that.
25, yeah.
Yeah, they got pretty much everything they would have gotten throughout the bank, with the bankruptcy. And that's more than Kansas City, who's spending. That's more than Cincinnati. That's more than Pittsburgh. It's more than all of our comparable level teams. Second thing with that is even the Dodgers revenue sharing takes 31% of all local revenues, which include your TV contracts, and put them into one giant pot, which are then distributed to the have-nots. So out of the Dodgers, $300 million, they give $100 million into the pot every year and only keep $200 million of that. It's still more than 65, but the Guardians get a significant portion of the Dodgers and Yankees and Red Sox and the big market teams' TV contracts.
Sure.
That's a mystery. It's been thrown out there between 25 and 100 million a year. Who knows? I don't. But the gap isn't as big as it appears to be because of revenue sharing. Now, the other thing I've heard is the Guardians don't have a TV contract going forward. This was a 1-year deal for the $65 million. And that's where Dolan's wallet is getting a little tight, that they didn't want to commit to $30 million next year. Even that would put us at $130 million, and average MLB payroll is like $150. We'd still be under. They didn't want to commit without knowing what we'd get in TV, what they'd get in TV. I keep saying we. Obviously, I'm a huge Guardians fan, but I'm not on the team.
I'm okay with it.
So that's what held it back. And the preferred course of action for next year would be probably for Diamond to go into bankruptcy and the Guardians' rights to be transferred to MLB and be part of an MLB-wide streaming package. I've read they need at least half the teams in the league to do that. The Guardians want to be part of it. They see that as the way to the most revenue, but Diamond holds the rights. So as long as Diamond is limping along in this bankruptcy, and for those that don't know, Bally's just a brand name. The TV station is owned by Diamond Sports.
Yep.
So that's why I keep saying Diamond. But as long as Diamond keeps limping through bankruptcy, there's going to be no certainty for next year. And there's like some shady plan with Amazon, and who knows what's going to happen. So it's that uncertainty for next year that the Dolans are like, no, we can't commit to an ace to go for it. Oh, an ace who we'd have next year also, by the way, when we need starters.
Who needs that? Who needs that?
Not our
Right.
team.
So yeah, that's disappointing. You know, with Flaherty, the Tigers probably weren't going to trade him to us. Rumors coming out that the Yankees wanted him, but then we're concerned about some medicals with his back. The Blue Jays, after getting an insane overpay for Kikuchi, who's the mid-range guy, you know, Guardians were rumored for him. I'm pretty glad we didn't pay what the Astros did.
Yeah, I
Hey,
didn't want to
we're
spend
going for
that.
it at the same
Yeah.
time.
I at least credit them for making the call.
Yeah, but I would have wanted Gossman for that same package. But after they got that package for Kikuchi, and Gossman's an ace, after they got that package for Kikuchi, I'm sure the Gossman asking price was through the roof, and no team met it, obviously. Garrett Crochet liked him early until he came out with the I'm not pitching in the playoffs without a giant contract extension.
Yep, that definitely scared some teams away, I think.
What a competitor.
Right.
I would rather sit at home with the shitty White Sox than have a chance to win a World Series, because I could make not just millions and multi-millions, but more millions.
Yeah, imagine if you go to a team that then makes it to the World Series or hell, wins the World Series, and you pitch fucking lights out. Your price tag would never be higher. Instead, you're trying to capitalize on some mid-season production where if they pay you, who knows how you're going to react for the rest of the year, because now you have nothing to play for if all you care about is money. So horrible precedent that he set for himself.
What sucks for us is that our team's winning, right? We're the best record in the American League. So it's like the Dolans sit
Best
back
record
and
tied
go,
with the Phillies' best record in baseball.
it's like, why spend money? Look what we're doing
Did
with
they
what
win
little
today?
money we're spending.
And look at the fans. And they always said ticket revenue, even though it's a small portion, because the broadcast and other money are so much bigger, they always said ticket money is basically extra. And the fans are showing out this year. They're
They
packing
had
the
the highest ticket sales in years for the Guardians.
Yeah.
Like, the fans are coming. That's supposedly all extra money. And they weren't willing to commit past this year. So that's why. And there's just too much. Cobb could be, if he's healthy, that's a big if. The dude hasn't thrown a pitch. He's thrown 5 innings in AAA this year and then had to leave. That's such a big if.
Yeah.
They
He
should
immediately
have
had
gone
setbacks in his first rehab start.
one more arm you can count on. And just done it.
I agree.
And that's why I give them a C. They played it safe.
I was
they didn't really give up much.
Pretty shocked that that's all the Guardians did. Like, they made the move Monday night, then they finished off with the pitcher, and I'm like, okay, there's none of these are big splashes. I'm thinking there's got to be another one coming, and I wasn't expecting. Obviously, Blake Snell would have been awesome, but I wasn't expecting that. So I thought they'd at least do something else, but they didn't. So I was a little disappointed by that. And for those keeping score at home, the Guardians are in sole possession with the best record in baseball by half game.
Because Phillies hasn't played tonight, have they?
No, I don't think so. They might be off. I was just checking the scores. I don't know if they play.
But that's
they do.
the thing. Like, they have.
And the thing is that they traded teams with guys. Like, obviously, Snell wasn't happening, but they could have. He was on the Giants. Could have been Cobb and Snell. Or
Yeah.
Even on the Nationals, they've got an ace reliever who's like Floto or Floro. I don't know, something like that. But the dude's an ace. They're going nowhere. Pick him up with Lane
Right.
Thomas. Right? If you'd have gotten a reliever, I'd give him a B. Because that's an arm you can count on to add to the pitching staff, even if it's in the bullpen. But
So
because they
Statistic
didn't-
Steve gives them a B+. He's giving them pretty high fucking praise. Steve, if you have a chance, I know you're driving, so obviously safety first, but if you want to give a little breakdown of why you give such a high grade, I'd love to hear it. Or see it, I should say. Dolan is going to sell to Rachel Phelps. Who's Rachel Phelps?
Owner from Major League, the movie.
Oh, yeah. I knew the name sounded familiar, but I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, that's right. They would never. She wouldn't spend enough, George. Dolans are cheap.
They don't suck enough for her to buy them.
I mean, they've
That's
already
true,
sold.
actually.
We just got to wait 4 more years.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
And I'm cautiously optimistic about Blitzer. You know, he's part of consortiums with other teams. I think the most telling one is he owns a soccer team called Crystal Palace in the English Premier League. They are about the 6th or 7th biggest team in London. So not a big team. But if you're familiar with soccer, there's what's called promotion and relegation, where the bottom 3 teams from the Premier League, the Major League every year, get demoted to basically the top minor league. And the top minor league, top 3 teams move up to the major leagues. And that's a huge deal because you get the TV contract that comes with the league you're in. So
I learned that from Ted Lasso.
Yep. So Crystal Palace, 7th most popular team in London. They're not going to compete with Manchester United, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, the big international boys, but they spend enough to keep them solidly in the middle tier. So they're not fighting relegation every year.
Okay.
And it's within their means, but it's solid spending. So I'm hopeful that they'll bump the Guardians up to that middle tier. And hey, instead of 100, what would 150 million payroll look like? Geez, that'd be Blake Snell.
Couldn't imagine it. Yeah.
Right. If they could get us up to, Blitzer gets us up to average in 4 years, that'd be amazing with this front office, what they could do with that money. So
I'll never forget when they went all in 2017 and they went after Edwin Encarnacion, and I was like, holy shit, this is what spending money feels like. And obviously it didn't work out, but I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, for real. And they went all in 2016 when they traded for Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
They gave up Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, 2 huge prospects at the time. And a lot of people forget they tried to trade for all-star catcher Matt LaCroix, but he vetoed the trade to Cleveland. So
I booed the fuck out of him for the rest of his career.
Yeah, but they went for it in 2016, and then they signed Encarnacion in the offseason. 2017 team was better, just had some horrible playoff luck.
Yep.
So they've shown they will go for it, but this year it was just more measured.
Yeah, I mean, I do like your grade of a C because you're kind of indifferent about the whole situation. It's one of those, like you said, you played it safe, so I can't give you a high grade, and you didn't do anything stupid, so I can't give you a low grade. So yeah, I think a C is kind of good. Like right in the middle. I don't know if Steve's B+ is very high. That's high praise for me. I feel like I could have used another name or two to get me up into a B+. I'm comfortable with a C, maybe a C+. That's about the best I can give. But I mean, best record in baseball, they're doing something right. It's just for me, other teams are making these big moves. You're the best team in baseball, technically speaking. Are you really going to go for it now that your window is there for a World Series? And I kind of feel like they just didn't take that full swing.
I agree with Steve that Lane's a solid upgrade. Really is.
I'm happy with it. I like both trades.
The pitching side. We need pitching in the worst starting pitch. We need more pitching in the worst way. And you need more than a guy who's thrown 5 AAA.
Who might be able to play in the next couple of weeks, you hope.
And I hope, I eat my words, and I hope Alex Cobb is lights out and leads the rotation and the team to a World Series. If they win it all, great job for them. But you just feel like it would really help if they had brought in one more arm.
Yeah, I mean, at least give me a fucking healthy body. How hard is it to just get a healthy body? Not a guy who's still rehabbing and just had a setback and has all these issues that's happening. He's trying to recover from a surgery, so he's possibly overcompensating with his mechanics. And, who knows? Pitchers are very finicky, where if they're doing one thing a little differently, maybe he's thinking about his hip, so he's not throwing the same way that he used to. It could fuck up everything that he does. So definitely a lot of uncertainties in the future for the Guardians. But
at the same time,
2 trades.
They're a good team. They have the best
Exactly.
record in baseball, and they did add to that team.
Yeah, they're finding ways to win.
Things are looking
They're
good.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to think that they can't continue the success. I know they're going to have a very, very, very tough schedule for the second half of the year. It starts tomorrow. We've got a 4-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. Right off the rip, boom, here's your trade deadline, done. Now go face one of the better teams in the American Leagues. That's going to be tough. But this is where boys turn into men. You got to show that you deserve to be at the top of the league. They just went into Philadelphia, won 2 out of 3, swept the Tigers, which is not saying much, but I mean, it's something. Those are wins that you're excited about. So I'm happy. Williams is going to come to form. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Gavin Williams has looked fantastic. He's just getting better and better, but yeah, knock on wood that continues.
Everyone says he has the best stuff, but he's got the riskiest stuff for an arm. He doesn't throw quite as hard. He seems more dependable.
Yeah, I agree.
But
so we'll see what happens with that going forward. What do you think of some of the other trades? I know you talked about a few of them, like Jack Flaherty going to the Dodgers. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's just the rich get richer, or are you skeptical on it?
Rich get richer for sure.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I figured you and I would be on the same page.
Yep.
Any surprise trades that you in your opinion?
Not really. I mean, there weren't a lot of big names moved. There were a lot of trades.
True.
There were a lot of trades.
A lot of names thrown around right before the deadline of everyone thought that the Blue Jays were going to blow it all up. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is getting traded. Bichette, everybody was getting traded. And, also, like you said, Jack Flaherty was probably the biggest name that got traded.
Yep. White Sox didn't trade Crochet. They didn't trade Robert. They did trade Eloy Jimenez to Baltimore at the last minute.
Yeah.
So that's a guy that has trouble staying healthy and really has trouble trying.
So somebody put together a video.
Dude just doesn't try. He doesn't care. You wonder if he's in a winning environment, if that'll bring out the best in him. Because he's got talent.
Someone put together a video of him that was like a goodbye video for him for the White Sox, and it was just all the times of him running into walls and falling and just laying there hurt. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize he got hurt that often, because this video was like a good minute long, and it's just clip after clip of him just tripping and falling and dropping balls and laying there, and you're like, holy shit. So that was a funny one.
It's funny. When he tries really hard, he gets hurt, but then he doesn't try.
He just says, fuck it, I'm not trying anymore.
So that could be an under the radar to Baltimore. Other than that,
I think
a lot of the trades don't move the needle for me, because you're like,
yes,
2 months left in the season. How much can these guys help you? And that's where, again, Alex Cobb might be a steal, because they made that trade with an eye towards the playoffs. If he's vintage all-star Alex Cobb in your playoff rotation, that's awesome. And that's exactly what they need. They bought him for playoff start. They got him for playoff starts. If you're looking at middling arms, these middling, maybe Tanner Scott from Miami. Where did he go? He went to a good team.
Was it the Royals? No. Greg's looking it up.
He went to the Padres.
Padres, that's it.
Once again, are like prospects. What prospects? We don't care. We don't need no prospects.
I've never seen a team go that hard all the time to have nothing to show for it. It's fucking bananas to me. But more power to them. They're still treading ahead. They're trying. Yeah. They're not that far behind the Dodgers. I was shocked yesterday because I was just bored, so I was checking out records and everything, and I saw the Padres are only 5 games behind the Dodgers, and they won last night against the Dodgers too, and a nice comeback win. So I didn't realize the Padres were doing that well this year, to be honest, but lo and behold, they find ways to do it.
And they got the best reliever. I mean, he's the Marlins closer, really good. He'll help. But a lot of the other trades for pitching, it's just some mediocre guys who you don't really think are going to have an impact. Look at last year, I don't think anyone traded, maybe Flaherty, although he has health concerns apparently, is as good as Jordan Montgomery, who went to the Rangers last year and helped bring him to the World Series.
Yeah, that was a huge move for them. I mean, that he was lights out in the playoffs for him.
And again, maybe Cobb's that guy, but it's a really big maybe right now. I hope he is.
I concur. All right, Greg. Well, that's going to do it for baseball talk. We're going to move on to the Cavaliers because they've been wheeling and dealing as well and paying anybody with the fucking heartbeat, apparently. So if you want to stay, you're more than welcome, but I know it's not your MO. You probably want to bounce, but totally up to you.
Thanks for the invite. I got a bedtime
of course,
to do.
Thanks for coming, man. when we come back in a couple of weeks, I'll be back from Germany. My closing date is the 21st, which is the first Wednesday that I'll be back. So probably not going to have an episode that day. Spoiler alert for everybody keeping score at home, but we will be back. And I'm assuming there's going to be some good shit to talk about with baseball. So we'd love to have you back, Greg. So I'll be in touch.
Awesome. Can't wait. Have a good one, guys.
Brother, you too, man. Thanks for coming on. All right, that leads us to the Cavaliers, who didn't even get to put it in the notes because it happened a few hours ago. Jared Allen with a contract extension a few weeks ago, as if there was any doubt. Donovan Mitchell gets a contract extension. He's staying in Cleveland. Evan Mobley signs a max contract. He's staying in Cleveland for the foreseeable future. Kobe Altman is cashing checks, baby.
They weren't kidding about keeping that core four together, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the issue with rumors. So when the season ended, and immediately, like the next day, I forgot who it was. It might have been Joe Varden. I forgot who. Somebody from The Athletic wrote this just damning article of the Cleveland Cavaliers of how JB lost the locker room. Everybody fucking hates each other in-house. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland's people said that if Donovan Mitchell stays, I want out of here. He wants Jared Allen traded. He doesn't want to play with him anymore. There were all these things that basically made you think, who did we see for the last time in a Cavaliers uniform when they lost against the Boston Celtics? Some of them weren't even in uniform because Jared Allen didn't play. Donovan Mitchell didn't play. But you look at that and you go, holy shit, they're going to blow this thing up. Like, what's going to happen this offseason? But my concern was, yes, Darius Garland was an all-star. Darius Garland's game has taken a major step back with the acquisition of Donovan Mitchell last season.
Right.
Or 2 seasons ago, if you want to be technical. I just still call it last season because the new season hasn't started. But his game has taken a huge step back. There's clear statistics and numbers that anybody that wants to make this argument can have it, that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen just do not play that well together. When they're not on the floor at the same time, they're both productive as fuck. When they're on the floor at the same time, the numbers decline. Don't know why. Can't explain it. Same thing with Darius Garland. So you look at that and you go, okay, well, these guys are good. Jared Allen, also an all-star. Darius Garland, an all-star. Evan Mobley, he's a borderline all-star / potential defensive player of the year winner. Damn good player. Right. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is going to be the key piece, so I wasn't concerned about him. But everybody else, I'm looking and I'm going, you could trade any of these guys and probably get a good haul, but you got to find a dance partner. It takes 2 to tango. Darius Garland has a huge contract. They gave him a 5-year max contract a few years ago, so he's making huge bucks. Evan Mobley, I really never thought was even in consideration for somebody that was going to get dealt, so I wasn't concerned about that. Jared Allen was a guy that could have gotten traded, but he's a center. Centers are no longer the same, the dominant position in the NBA. You need to be Chet Holmgren. You need to be these big guys that you're 7 feet tall, sure, right, but you can shoot threes. Jared Allen is not that guy. Jared Allen is a pretty, I would say, old school center. He's going to block shots. He's going to clog up the paint. He's going to get boards. Interior, he's gonna score no problem in the paint, but he's not a jump shooter. So him not being able to stretch the floor is a concern in this day and age in today's NBA. So that's why I kind of thought he's a guy who could get dealt, but I don't want to trade him for nothing just to get him off the team. I feel like there's value to him. Then to lock him to a fucking max contract. Yeah,
we need shooters. It's insane that we're gonna still ride. I mean, I like them, like you just said, like both of them. I like the Mobley thing a lot. I thought that was for sure going to happen no matter what, right? We talked about that, but yeah, to run a team with those two on the court most of the night, like you said, it doesn't do much for us. We saw how it worked out. We needed someone a little more versatile, I guess. Is like, I don't know if you just said that, but that's what we needed. And Jared Allen, I don't think he's not that guy. I don't think he's not that guy at all.
While I 100% agree with that, I think the thought process for the Cavaliers is you're not going to get a valuable return. So again, they'd rather just run it back with this team than trade Jared Allen for nothing, or Darius Garland, whomever. The other thing too to think about is it's a scary thought because of how last year ended, how they struggled against Orlando, a young Orlando team. They tried, I'll give them credit, A for effort, against the Boston Celtics. The season did not end well. Again, the stories came out immediately that this Cavs team had issues in the locker room. And then you think about it and you go, they've done nothing. They drafted Jason Tyson. That's it. Or Jalen Tyson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jalen Tyson. Potential, good shooter, right? Not great, but he's an okay shooter.
Looked really good in the summer league. So there's great potential there. Do I think he's NBA ready? No. I'm not going to be naive and go out and tell everybody to, buckle up. This kid's our new starting 3. But that's the only move they've made. They drafted Tyson, and that's it. They have not signed anybody. As far as I know off the top of my head, Isaac Okoro, they offered him from what I've heard, is his team is considering a slap in the face from the Cavaliers. I think they offered him like $8 million a year or $10 million a year. Say what you will about Isaac Okoro, he really started to turn it on at the end of the season. He got a 3-point shot, pretty consistent. He's known for being a defensive player.
Yeah.
So he's known for that. And apparently the Cavs offered him a $10 million contract, whether it might have been $10 million overall, or maybe it was 10 a year. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I did see basically the stories that I saw is it was a disrespectful offer that there's no chance in hell that his team's going to take. But the funny thing is he is still available. So I think there's something to it that maybe the Cavs aren't that far off base with what they're offering him because he hasn't signed anywhere. So we'll see what happens keep an eye on that, because as of right now, I don't know who the fuck our starting 3 is going to be unless it is going to be Tyson.
That's rolling the dice there, bringing a rookie out like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Or they go Strus, I guess, could just be the 3, but then you're losing bench players, because then who do you bring off the fucking bench? You have Sam Merrill, you have George Niang. That's kind of about it right now. They don't have a whole lot to work with. So Tristan Thompson's a free agent. Marcus Morris is a free agent. So you need some bodies, and I'm not loving what I have. I mean, you've got Craig Porter Jr., who's a good guy off the bench. I forgot about him. So decent. I don't like Imani Bates. I don't think he has a career in the NBA. I think he's a good G League player because he can dominate against guys like that. But I think in the NBA, he has no chance.
I just can't believe a new coach coming in here. We're bringing back the same team. I thought for sure.
And that's the thing to think about, that Kobe Altman basically is telling you that we think JB Bickerstaff was the problem. That's it. We're not making any fucking changes. We're bringing it back almost 100% as much as you can, because they haven't signed anybody new. They haven't traded anybody. They just use their draft picks. That's it. Draft pick, I should say. And they're bringing it all back. Kenny Atkinson, the head coach, they're just saying it was JB's fault as of right now. I mean, obviously the season doesn't start till like the end of October. So you've got a few months here to potentially make a move. Never say never. Wait till everybody gets back from the Olympics. Maybe that's when teams will start wheeling and dealing again. But right now it's pretty quiet in the NBA. But the Cavs are making moves, and that's I take that back. The Cavs are signing their own players. That's all they're doing. I won't even call it making moves, because just keeping your own is not anything to get too excited about when you have a team that underperformed, I would say is the best word, in the playoffs 2 years in a row. But again, was that JB's fault? I just don't know how much you can blame the head coach for the team underperforming.
Right.
A coach can only do so much. You can only rally the troops to get them going. They have to go out there and produce. And yes, his in-game coaching was questionable at times. I think we can all agree to that, even in the regular season. But he's gone. No more excuses. This team basically has to be a championship contender next year, or Kobe Altman kind of should get looked at for a possible replacement, because he's the one putting this together.
His eyes were on him this year, right? They were looking at him, but not as heavy as they were JB. But I mean, I completely agree that this is definitely a target on your back situation, right? This needs to work, or we need to have that tough conversation, as much as I like Altman.
Because you now have Donovan Mitchell here for multiple years. You have Evan Mobley here for the long term. You've got Darius Garland. You now have Jared Allen, who just signed a new 3-year contract today. So you have these guys, these core 4, if you will, in place. New head coach. I don't think you blow this up after one season when everybody's under contract. So the next domino to fall, if you will, would have to be Kobe Altman. And he better wake up, because it's been you thought the Guardians had a pretty quiet trade deadline. It's been a quiet offseason for Kobe Altman, except for spending Dan Gilbert's money.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I honestly thought for sure we'd have the news of him being traded for something, like maybe a sign and trade. I don't know, but not him on the team, right? And bettering our chances of a better rotation. But I guess we'll see what happens.
So, one thing I'll say that I was reading on Twitter, because again, this just happened like 2 hours ago, so I haven't even had a whole lot of time to digest it. A lot of people are saying that this new contract for Jared Allen on the outside looks like a lot. You look at it and you go, oh, fuck, they must love this guy. They're going to keep him forever. But there are people that are saying that if you really look at the numbers, he is now on a very, very, very tradable contract. They have turned him into a very, especially in the future. So like maybe after a year, you go, okay, you could get rid of Jared Allen and it's a pretty good contract for other teams. I haven't been able to do a ton of research on it. It was just some stuff that I was reading from people that were putting that up there. But I don't think if you're the Cavs, you sign him to an extension to then immediately trade him. Right. I don't know what would be of that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the Cavs. They, again, maybe after the Olympics, things will change, but I don't know. I'm not loving. It's a scary thought because we know for a fact this Cavs team is good. This Cavs team can win. They can be a playoff contender. They can be a top 5 seed in the East as they were last year. For most of the year, at least, they were almost the 1 seed. Fuck, Boston was just so good. The Cavs were right there. So the talent is there. It's just a matter of putting it all together. And I don't know if Kenny Atkinson. I like the hire. He was a guy that I said his name immediately when JB got fired. But you now have to hope that he can put the shit together immediately. And the pressure is on. That's all I can say for the Cavaliers.
Yeah. It's going to be here before you know. It's crazy that I can't believe tomorrow's August already. We're going to be in basketball season before you know it. It's insane.
Yeah. I don't believe we've had a show since the draft, have we?
We have not, sir. No.
So I want to talk a little bit about Bronny James here because Bronny James is during
Do we have to?
Briefly. I want to defend him. I want to defend the kid.
Oh, you want to defend him? Okay.
For sure. So Bronny James gets drafted 55 overall in the NBA draft. If you go back and look at the NBA draft, most second-round picks suck. 99% of them are garbage. They never play in the NBA. They never amount to anything. It's so rare. Bronny James gets taken 55 overall. Everyone and their brother starts basically treating it like he was the number 1 overall pick, and they're talking about how shitty he is and how, he only averaged 8 points and did this and did that. And it's like, you're overlooking the fact that this was the 55th overall pick. I even chimed in on Georgia's show a few weeks ago. So we did cover Bronny, apparently. I think pre-draft we covered Bronny. I don't think we covered.
We haven't talked about his summer game points.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance.
Or whatever.
So he went out there and a couple games looked like shit, missed some 3-pointers, airballed some shots, which whatever. It's summer league.
I think it's his contract that people are more so going after than him.
Because he's not on a 2-way contract?
That and the fact that he got paid a lot more than a lot of people in that position do get paid. If you look at the average salary of that position in the draft, what they get paid, and the 2-way contract deal, he's making more money than any of those guys.
Yeah, but think of it as an NIL for college. You drafted Bronny James. Who in their right mind would have gave a fuck about the second round? Because the way the NBA did the draft this year is they did 2 days. So they had round 1 on Wednesday, round 2 on Thursday, or whatever the fuck. Do you think anybody in the world, aside from crazy diehard NBA fans, would have given a fuck about round 2 of the NBA draft if it weren't for Bronny James?
Sure, but it's the James name, not Bronny. I think it's the James name.
Right, but I'm just saying, him in general, he is a guy who's because he's going to get drafted, people were watching. Because he now plays on the Lakers, people are going to watch. Whether it's to boo him, because there are going to be a lot of weirdos out there that are hating on this kid who's a fucking 18-year-old child, basically. There are still going to be people out there that are just rooting for his demise, which means they'll still get viewers. That's still revenue for the NBA. There are going to be crazy people out there that buy his jersey because it says James on the back because they're going to go, how cool is that? He gets to play with his son. And I think he deserves a little bit of a higher contract because of that. Other number 55 overall picks, those are guys who you get drafted and you have to Google and go, who the fuck is that? I don't know anything about him. You probably never hear about them again. He gets drafted. Biggest fucking news story you can hear. Every summer league game, Lakers ratings are through the roof. The stadium's packed. People are there to watch Bronny James play basketball. He's bringing revenue in. So I think he deserves that little bit of an extra contract, whether guys like it or not. Sure, it's nepotism. There's nepotism in everything.
I don't think it's going to last long. I think that he just doesn't have the skill set that he needs to maintain in this league.
No, I agree.
He's going to get picked apart, and I think he's going to be a target for a lot of people, especially in the first couple months of the season. I think by the middle of you're not going to hear much from Bronny. I just don't see it happening.
Don't get me wrong. Again, he was the 55th overall pick. The Lakers didn't make this move going, this is the missing piece for a championship. They did it strictly so LeBron James can play on the same court with his son. And yes, he had a heart attack in college. That's another thing. People are shitting on him as if because his stats weren't great. The kid had a fucking heart attack before he ever played a game at USC, tried to come back, did his rehab, and then his slowly, returning to form. And everyone's still bashing him. And again, they did this as a favor for LeBron James. He gets to play with his son. That'll probably never happen again in the history of the NBA. How cool is that? Think about it from anybody else's perspective. If you're a father or, whatever, or think about if you had a child, wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't you want to be able to, if you're a pro athlete or whatever, You'd want your kid to be there too. How cool of a moment is that? That's so cool.
I completely agree that the whole nostalgia factor, the kind of father-son thing is amazing. The story is great. Did you have to waste a second-round pick on him? I mean, could you have not have found somebody better at that position and just draft him in the third round? No one else. He wasn't going anywhere else.
There's like 2 rounds.
Oh, I thought there was 3. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, NBA's only 2.
But could you have signed him after the draft?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, realistically, I mean, again, look at his. Say what you will. I know it's the summer league. His stats were pretty decent. He looked pretty good. He was averaging, he was scoring 10 plus points in a few games, working on his assists. He was doing okay. He wasn't bad. Hard to find a guy that's going to do that kind of shit at 55 plus. So I think taking him at 55 isn't that big of a deal. I mean, you're towards damn near the end of the draft. There's only like 60 picks or something like that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I like that they did it. Again, they did it as a favor. LeBron James is arguably, say what you will, in my opinion, the best basketball player of all time. He is the scoring champion. He's going to go down as one of the, arguably the best basketball player ever. And he's still playing at a high level, as you can see from the Olympics, as you can see from the regular season. LeBron James is still good as fuck at 40 years old. Now he gets to play with his son. I think, again, it's just such a cool story. Look at the pictures of, Ken Griffey Jr. with his dad. All these athletes whose kids turn into players, they're all retired at that point, but they still go out there and they fucking hug them. And there's all these pictures of the Bonds family or Mo Vaughn Prince Fielder and Cecil Fielder and shit like that. Like all these fathers, I couldn't read that, George. The font was a little too small, if I'm being honest. But there's all these players who, Bobby Witt Jr., what's the story you hear about that? Or even Patrick Mahomes, different sports, but all they talk about is Patrick Mahomes' father was a Major League Baseball player. So it's like, that's cool. These guys are multiple athlete families. Look at the Watts. Everybody and their brother wanted the Watt brothers to play together. So the Steelers signed Derek Watt, even though he sucked. They had him in there just because of that. Cam Hayward's brother, they have him on the Steelers. Is he good? No, not really. He's okay, but they have him on the team because it's a brother. So the nepotism happens throughout sports. So for people that are shitting on Bronny James, I just feel like it's completely off base. And yeah, that's not bad for, again, a kid who's 19 years old, who just had a heart attack, who was taken 55 overall. There was the number 2 overall pick, forgot his name off the top of my head, I think he was number 2, to the Washington Wizards. He had a game, George, if you could look this one up, his stats, where he went 0 for 10 shooting, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, literally was the worst dog shit player on the court, and that guy went number 2. But nobody talks about it. Bronny James shoots an air ball, everyone reposts the video and goes, this kid fucking sucks. I can't believe he got drafted. Meanwhile, there's a guy who went number 2 or 3, I forgot where the Wizards picked, whatever. It was top 5 for sure, who put up fucking goose eggs across the board, just an embarrassing performance. But nobody talked about that because it wasn't LeBron James' son. So that's why Bronny James deserved a little bit of a higher contract, because he is getting the needle moving. Around the NBA, there are some other moves too. Russell Westbrook gets traded from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Utah Jazz. Stop me if you've heard this before. The Utah Jazz let him come in for a cup of coffee, and they release him or buy him out, just like they did almost a calendar year ago. Yes, Alexander Sarr. Thank you, George. If you could pull up that stat line and pop that up there for a second for everybody to see, where he went fucking over. Embarrassing for the number 2 overall pick in the draft. But Bronny James shoots an air ball or, only scores 5 points, and everyone goes, this kid fucking sucks.
What's his overall stats for the summer league for doing apples to apples?
That I don't remember. I just remember his one game stat line where everybody was roasting him. Not everybody. There were a handful of people roasting him. And I saw that and I go, this guy was a top 5 pick. Bronny James was the 55th overall pick, and no one's really talking about that. I'll try to look that up here. So yeah, Russell Westbrook gets released, or bought out, I should say, from the Utah Jazz, and he signs with the Denver Nuggets, which I think is an interesting move.
What Russell Westbrook are they going to get, though, right? That's the thing. I mean, talented basketball player. Could he help that team? Absolutely, but I'm curious where he's going to fit in there.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. I have it. So they played the Washington Wizards played the Portland Trail Blazers on sometime in June. I don't know the exact date. It just says on Tuesday night. He went 0 for 15, 0 points. It was the most field goal attempts by a player without a make in a summer league game since at least 2017. Yeah. He was their top pick and he went scoreless. He did. I thought he had zeros across the board. It was just in the shooting category. He finished with 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks, but missed all 7 3-pointer attempts, both of his free throws, and 15 shots altogether. Devin, what's up, dude? Thank you for checking in. Thank you for those boxes the other day, by the way. I've been taping those up all day. But yeah, so kind of funny that, again, the second pick of the draft goes 0 for 15 shooting, one of the worst performances you're ever going to see in a summer league game, and all anyone wants to talk about is Bronny James. So I love that. I'm happy for Bronny. I'm pumped to see those two on the court.
Again, man, I just think, honestly, it's just more so the contract and the overall, like, exactly the attention he's getting, because he's getting more attention than some of these other basketball players, probably on the same team, right? He's getting a lot more love and attention than those other guys are. So, I mean, he's not starting, obviously. Comes off the bench.
No, he'll be lucky to get a few minutes a day or a game, if that.
It's cool to see him come in towards the end of whatever the third quarter, the second quarter before halftime, maybe to get a couple minutes in then at the end of the game. It's cool to see LeBron give him an assist or whatever, right? Yeah, it's going to be fun, right? I hope he progresses. I hope he does better and gets better at the game and can actually stand on his own 2 feet once his dad retires eventually. But who knows, right? Who knows?
Now, let me ask you this before we'll move on from Bronny. You watched Georges Niang in the playoffs, correct?
Yes.
Do you think Bronny could be that much worse than that? Because that was fucking embarrassing.
So I think the Monstars came down and took away his talent for the playoffs. I honestly think something happened outside of the basketball world, because I don't understand what happened.
That's the guys who talent they got. At least in Space Jam, the original, they were taking it from like Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning and some good players. If you came down and you took the talent of Georges Niang, you've got some issues. Don't get me wrong. Georges Niang could go to the fucking YMCA and whip everybody's ass at basketball. But in the NBA, one of the worst players you're going to find. Man, and when I look at that, I go, yeah, I think Bronny deserves a roster spot if Georges Niang gets playing time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were talking about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook did get signed by the Denver Nuggets. And as Kyle said, which Westbrook are they getting? Because Russell Westbrook has been on a steady decline for his career. He went from being
I hate saying his name quickly. Russell Westbrook. It's just
it's tough. It's a tongue twister. So Westbrook was a perennial MVP candidate, Mr. Triple Double, but he was stat padding for sure. I was very unimpressed by all of his triple doubles. I watched those games. I watched where his teammate Steven Adams would literally box a guy out and not go for the ball just so Westbrook could grab it to get an extra rebound. For me, that's shitty. That's his stats will show in the record book, but they are not as impressive as on in real life as they look on paper. Excuse me. The Nuggets got him. I feel like if anything, he can. Him and Jokic could be fun to watch because both of them like to pass the ball. I mean, Russell Westbrook is an assist machine. Can't shoot for shit, which isn't good. But I think him handling the rock with, Jokic running down a nice little fast break could be fun to watch. But I really don't know. I don't know how I feel about that move for the Nuggets.
I mean, I don't know. I think, what's his name? Murray. He's a ball handler. Like, he's the one that controls that ball, right?
Jamal Murray's the second best player on that team, and it's not even close.
Exactly. And there's only one basketball to go around, and I just don't know how those two are going to coexist in the court.
And Westbrook is a ball dominant player.
Yeah. I just don't know how it's going to work out. Maybe he's a sixth man. Maybe he comes off the bench. Maybe he doesn't start. But how do you not start Westbrook, right? It's just weird.
And this point in his career, I think it's pretty easy.
He did accept the sixth man point. Where was it? The Lakers, where they forced him in the sixth man and came off the bench?
Yeah, they moved him to the bench. I think he was coming off the bench for the Clippers too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think he was.
Maybe that's his role here. He comes off the bench and gets those 25 minutes a night or whatever, and just kind of keeps the ball moving when Murray needs to take a break or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, good backup point guard. Don't get me wrong. Not knocking it.
What are they paying him? What was the contract?
I really don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think it was much.
Okay. Well, I guess it's worth the risk, because that team is going to be close every year.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you have Jokic and you have a healthy Jamal Murray, you're a contender.
And I think Jokic only didn't want to go to the finals this year because of the Olympics. I think that was on purpose.
Yeah, he's super lazy, so I think he looked at it was like, I got a ring last year. I'll wait. I'll get one next year.
He's like, we got stuff coming up in the summer. I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, I enjoy my free time.
Right.
Really quickly, Jalen Brunson stays with the Knicks on a new contract extension, takes a major pay cut. I believe he left upwards of $100 million on the table of what he could have gotten because he wants them to have the money to spend elsewhere. Very selfless move.
Which they brought people in, so
they did. I don't personally love the moves that they made. They traded for Mikal Bridges. I know we talked about that. Gave up 5 first-round draft picks for him. For me, I was like, a guy who never made an all-star game, averages 15 points a game, 5 draft picks, and then a contract. That's, I don't know. I don't love the move for the Knicks, but what do I know? But something you don't see every day is a player taking a mega pay cut, and that's something that Jalen Brunson, maybe that will turn other players into doing it. I highly doubt it because, let's be honest, greed is the common denominator for most athletes. A lot of guys, that's why when you see a good player that signs with a shitty team, you're always like, why the fuck would you go there when, you would fit perfectly on our team? And then it's like, oh, because they offered you $20 million more than any other team. So you're literally just there for the paycheck. As an adult now, I can't knock it. When I was younger, I hated when guys did that. I was like, what a piece of shit. All he cares about is money. Now I understand. You have a family, you've got bills. These guys are paying into the unions for the leagues they play. They have agents, they have managers. You're paying hefty taxes. So I get it. I totally understand now. Take the money and run. But I also respect guys that Jalen Brunson's contract, yes, he took a huge pay cut. Could he still live off of that contract for the rest of his life and probably the next generation of his family and then some? Yes. But, more power to people. You could live off of that, no problem, or you could take the extra money and then really be set. But it's all up to your preference.
You want to win. You want the championship. I respect it.
Exactly. I respect the fuck out of it. I hate them. I hate the Knicks. They can go fuck themselves, but I respect it. Team USA won again today against South Sudan or whoever they played. Pretty easy. They cut it a little bit close in the third quarter, but Team USA ran away with it and won by like 20 points.
This team is scary. Like, meaning, like, I don't know, like, what you have. Like, you're used to these USA teams dominating. Granted, basketball is much bigger in the world now, right? So a lot of teams have good players on it, but like they're not beating these teams by 40 or 50 like sometimes, like the old Dream Team did, right? But I don't know. Do you think they have what it takes to get to the gold and take the gold this year, or is it going to be kind of a scary?
I don't see any team even coming close to giving them much of a challenge. I think they're too fucking talented. Their bench is so deep. They have great players. They have a lot of champions. That's the key. When Kawhi Leonard left the Team USA roster and they brought in Derek White, my initial thought was, how the fuck is it Derek White over Donovan Mitchell, over Darius Garland? And that's just the Cavs. Like, there's so many other players that I think could be better. I don't know their situations. Maybe these guys turned it down. I don't know. But you have all these players where I'm like, how is it Derek White? Then I think about it and I go, dude's a champion. He does what it takes to win. He gets huge blocks when the team needs it. He makes big shots when they need it. Same thing with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is a good player. Would I think of him as a top Team USA player? No chance. But then you see him out there on the court with everybody and you go, okay, now I understand why they brought him here, because they have a championship pedigree. They're willing to make the sacrifices. They make the smart play.
Yeah.
The team's winning by 20 plus. They let it look close for a little while, but then they pull away. As you said, this Team USA is playing more NBA players from foreign countries than ever before. There was a stat the other day that I saw, which, there's always those people out there that are going to try to shit on Michael Jordan in every chance that they get if they're big LeBron fans. I love LeBron. I also love Michael Jordan, so I'm not here to shit on Jordan, but somebody posted something that said the Dream Team faced, I think, 2 NBA players in the Olympics.
I saw that stat. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because back then there just weren't as many foreign players, so they faced only 2 players that actually played in the NBA. Everybody else were just international league players.
And that's when they're blowing people out by like 50 or 60 in the games. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were killing it, and that's another thing. People are going to look and go, oh, if LeBron's so good, why did they only beat South Sudan by 20 points? And you look at the roster and you go, oh, that's because South Sudan has a lot of fucking NBA players. Or the other day they played, they play Serbia or whatever. Nikolai Jokic, you've got all these fucking NBA players on these teams, that are good. Jokic is an MVP. It's not like you're playing a guy who just goes, yeah, he's the end of the bench guy on some team in the NBA. It doesn't really count. You're playing an MVP, one of arguably the best player in the whole league. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
You play against Greece. Who are you playing? Giannis Antetokounmpo, arguably, again, one of the best players in the entire league. Luka, you're playing all these fucking fantastic players. So I think winning by 10 plus points in any game is a pretty decent ass kicking if you're Team USA, and you should be happy about it. I think they're coming into their own. You can tell Steve Kerr had some issues with the the lineup. I mean, Jason Tatum played 10 minutes or something like that in the first game, not even. They
And then
dominated.
No minutes in the second game, and then no minutes in the other game.
Oh no,
He
he
didn't come off
played.
the
I think that.
No, like
Yeah,
his
and
first
then-
game, he didn't come off the bench. Yeah.
Yeah, he pulled him out after like a little bit, never went back into the game. And then today came out there and people were making jokes because they were like, hell yeah, Tatum's back in full stride. And he shot a ball that fucking clipped the side of the backboard and it was ugly. And everyone's like, now I understand why Tatum didn't get any minutes. But the team's too loaded to lose. When you have
been
Joel
watching,
Embiid,
you've been watching any of the Olympics at all outside of basketball? Any of the games?
not really.
We
I
watch
might
it every
throw
night.
it on, but like
We
I've
turn
just
it
been
on
so
at
fucking
night
busy.
because Peacock has like the Olympics in prime, even though it's a lot of the stuff that took place during the day because obviously time
Yeah.
difference. But they package it together for like a 3-hour thing. So like all the big events that took place that day, you can watch
Sure.
live. So gymnastics was last night. I think there's swimming.
I saw
tonight.
highlights of it, like Simone
Yeah.
Biles and all that. I saw them win.
Watching that stuff. I mean, watching these people compete and do this stuff is fucking crazy, man. It's just insane to me. That I love the Olympics. My favorite part is the track and field part, which comes up I think next week.
Okay. Yeah, if I weren't so busy, I would definitely be watching more. Like today, I made sure to come home and I watched the Team USA game because I really want. I'll try to watch every basketball game for sure for Team USA.
Yeah.
But the rest of the events, if I have time, I'll throw it on. But I can't really dedicate myself to watching it just because I've got so much shit going on. But definitely rooting for America. I want to bring home as many medals as possible. It's pretty sweet. The Olympics are always fun.
We're in the medal lead, which is usually always happens because we usually send more athletes than any other country. But still kind of cool. And then the Summer Olympics are, I believe, here in 2028. So that
I think you're right.
Fun. That would be fun. Be kind of cool to go watch an event somewhere. I don't know what cities are hosting though, but be kind of cool.
I don't remember. Yeah, I look forward to LeBron being on Team USA again.
He's gonna retire by that point. Calm down.
He could still play for Team USA.
Yeah, he'll probably be Snoop Dogg and walking out the flags, the torch somewhere.
I mean, realistically, how cool would that be if he retires from the NBA, takes like a year off, and then just goes, I'm going to come play for the Olympics because it's only for the summer if he stays in shape.
No, I think he did come out and say this was his last Olympics. He officially put the stamp on that. So
he also said he was never going to leave Cleveland again, and how'd that work out? So I don't think he's a guy that you could trust.
He can't be on camera much longer. You see that hair he's got going on back there? Whatever thing patchy thing.
By the time 2028 rolls around, they're going to have such good AI, you're not even going to know it. They're going to have him. He's going to have a whole fucking afro, even though he doesn't have one in real life. It's going to be crazy. Really quickly, we've got about 20 minutes left of the episode. George was questioning if we were going to have enough time to talk about everything, and I'm a fucking professional, so we are going to have time.
You haven't met us before, huh?
So we are going to talk about the Browns because training camp is underway. The Browns are at the Greenbrier in West Virginia doing their practice. The news came out last week. So far, really nothing to report. They signed, I forgot his name off the top of my head, the center, Brian Allen, was it? I forgot. He got hurt. He's really the only injury that's of significance. He was a backup center who I believe was with the Rams last year. He's the only injury of note that's happened in camp. When they released the initial injury list, which teams have to do when you start all this, seeing Nick Chubb go on the PUP was fully expected. I've tried to. There's been a lot of people who have come up to me and said, "Hey, when Nick Chubb, you think he'll be ready?" And I have to go, I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see him touch the field until November. And I don't think people are ready for that conversation.
What a beast that guy is, though. His amount of like him coming back. He's further ahead than I thought he would be at because he's already out there doing small cuts and running through certain drills, right? He's not doing full thing, but they said he's doing mini cuts. He's doing like 5-10 yard carries. Who would have imagined that after what he went through last year? That's just insane, man. What a beast.
Yeah, no, I mean, seeing him do that video, we haven't even got to talk about it. He did a video where he, his classic squat. So you have a guy who had that horrific knee injury that literally looking at it was like, that guy might never walk again. He's back out there with the fucking bar that's bending and he's doing,
like 660 or whatever he's throwing
squats or whatever. Holy shit, I was right. Brian Allen is the name of the center. So Brian Allen hurt his calf. He was placed on injured reserve. That's not great. Nick Chubb was placed on the PUP list, which we all knew was going to happen. The surprising one, Greg Newsome Jr. was placed on the active non-football injury list, but that's because he had hamstring surgery in the offseason. Fully expected to be ready for week 1. Jedrick Wills, still not recovered from his knee injury. He was placed on the PUP list. Jack Conklin, not recovered from his knee injury, was placed on the PUP list. DeAnthony Bell, the safety, with his shin, was placed on the active PUP list. And Nyheim Hines, who had that jet ski accident last year, he was placed on the active non-football injury list as well. So
But he should be ready to go by season 2, I think.
he should be fine, and he's only coming in to be our return guy, so I'm not really worried about him.
We don't have a
to
good
get
history
healthy.
of return guys in Cleveland, so let's just see what happens here.
Yeah, just ask Shaquem Grant. So if you have a little bit of an injury history and you want to come return balls for Cleveland, brace yourself. Hope you have good insurance.
Stay home.
The holdout from Amari Cooper ended last week when the Browns inked him to an extension for 1 extra year, guaranteeing $20 million, which was a smart move by Andrew Berry because he was going to be on the team anyway and was going to get all that money. So literally did nothing extra, but if it makes Amari Cooper happy, kudos.
So we got him for this year and next year. Then next year's his last year with us.
Yeah, they signed him for 1 more year.
Yeah, okay, because he's already under contract this year. But it's just now 1 more. Okay, yeah, got it.
And
Which
they
is
fully
great.
guaranteed
A great veteran presence for that locker room, especially
Yeah,
bringing
I love
Judy
it.
in. It's great.
I know the NFL is a business, so anything can happen, but Amari Cooper did come out after signing the contract and he said, I love it in Cleveland. I would like to retire a Cleveland Brown. Will that happen? More than likely not. But it's up to Amari Cooper. Do you want to retire in 2 years, Amari? Otherwise, you probably won't be retiring a Brown. That's the only way that's going to happen. And that's pretty much it for the Browns. Really not a whole lot of news. Mike Vrabel is out there racing Jameis Winston. Those guys are getting along really well. Love having that veteran presence in the coaching room.
Watson looks like he's done well. He's recovering. That shoulder looks pretty good. I know it's just practice, but
my 2 cents, he looks way ahead of schedule. I was worried that he was going to have extreme throwing limitations for this preseason or spring or training camp, preseason, whatever you want to call it. And he's out there throwing more than I could have anticipated and doing it pretty well. So
he was at volunteer minicamp, right? Showed up, had the presence, was there being a leader. He's been at every practice. He's been there early. He's been doing the drills. Watson just gets the shit hate. I understand it. It is what it is, but
it's never going to go away. He's got a black cloud over him.
At least he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and maybe some more, right?
For sure.
Let's just hope he stays healthy this year.
Going around the NFL, there were some contract extensions that happened for a Tua Tagovailoa, and Cribbs was a great returner. Cribbs was awesome. The poor guy is so reckless, got CTE out the ass, but I'm glad he did it for the Browns. Couldn't happen to a better guy or a better team, I should say. Jordan Love becomes the highest paid quarterback per year in the NFL, surpassing, let's be honest, Deshaun Watson was no longer the top guy after the last couple seasons, but
he's not even top 8 right now. I think he's gotten kicked down so far,
which is great because people still shit on that contract that we gave him, but
it's all
he's not even the highest paid guy anymore. Yeah, exactly. But these other guys, they're getting it all anyway.
I know.
So you've got Tua gets a huge contract. Tua has Tua has 0 playoff success, decent regular season success. He's never been even in the discussion for MVP. Gets this huge contract. Jordan Love has played 1 season of meaningful football because he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for years. Looked great. Yeah. And then said, fuck you, I want a contract I'm holding out. And the Packers said, here you go. You better be fucking good because we're paying you more than any other quarterback in the league, which is bananas for a guy who's played 1 full season.
Did you see the stat? The stat where Dan Marino's career earnings was $51 million, and now
he's making that this year.
Yeah, he was making 55 whatever a year.
It's disgusting.
Fucking crazy.
It's this day and age. It's fucked up. Other news around the NFL, the Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. We have real tackle football. But
ain't nobody
the
watching.
Chicago Bears said no one's playing. We're playing all of our backups. So if you were looking forward to seeing Caleb Williams go out there with, I believe they drafted Rome Medusa, was their other first-round pick, with Keenan Allen, who they traded for in the offseason. Not going to happen. You're not seeing any of these guys. So will I still watch? Yeah. You'll get me for about a quarter or so until I get bored, but I'll watch. I'll turn it on. I like to see some guys that were, mid-round picks, some undrafted guys, maybe just people to keep an eye on. And then
what was it? The Bears and the Texans, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't think they've come out and officially announced it, but I expect the Texans to do the same thing. The Texans aren't going to play anybody. The Browns were in the Hall of Fame game last year. So, of course, that means that these teams get a 4th preseason game where everybody else gets 3. So they're, of course, not going to risk injury. No one's fucking playing tomorrow, which sucks because you have the Hall of Fame game. You're all excited. You're getting ready for the football season, and it's a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of. You would almost think the NFL would try to make this like the 3rd game of the season for preseason so players would actually play. But I get it. It takes away the excitement because you want to do the Hall of Fame shit. So it is what it is. I get it.
What do you think about those new kickoff rules? You see that?
Which ones? Like the ones overall?
No, the ones that just came out, I believe, unless I'm seeing something wrong. But yeah, it's where you can't do a onside kick before the fourth quarter. Is that new?
Oh, you have to announce it. They changed it. So
you can't do it before the fourth quarter, and if you have the lead, you can't do an onside kick at all. Which makes sense because weird. But I guess why are you limiting what you can and can't do? It's football. Let them do what they want.
So with the new kickoff rule, you have, are we chunking? We got some bad internet going on.
You're back now.
There we go. With the new kickoff rule, you have to kind of protect everybody because you are going to have guys in set spots because there's now like the kickoff zone or whatever the fuck it's called. So I feel like they had to do that because you can't really prepare for an onside kick. So I feel like it's more so to keep it fair. If you're going to have this main kickoff rule, you can't let people just go up there and fucking try to onside it every time. Because you have guys that have to be back in this kickoff zone or whatever. So it made sense. It was a long time coming, and it's going to prevent injuries because a lot of times with guys on onside kicks, the ball comes rolling at you. You're ducking down. You're not looking. You could take a bad shot. So they want teams to be prepared for that. It's all about injuries and just
fun league.
Say again.
No fun league.
No fun league. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have the no fun to league when they run out of money when all these people sue for the fucking CTE. So I understand the move. Also around the NFL, we'll talk about it on our next episode. There was a guy, I forgot his name off the top of my head, who was talking shit about the Browns fans. Chris Canty, I think it was. I think it was Chris Canty who was talking shit about the Browns fans and said that the team left because of the fans. But everyone was like, you fucking moron. The fans had nothing to do with it. It was Art Modell, but we'll talk about that another time.
That was a hot take. That was a crazy take. But yeah, no, we'll talk about it later. That's crazy.
For me, that's where I get pissed off that this guy's getting paid by ESPN and he doesn't know a fucking thing. It's like, dude, this guy is literally on national television just spewing bullshit out of his asshole and getting paid a lot of money for it. More power to him. Some drama at Patriot camp as Matthew Judon, who said he was going to come and play. He's pissed about his contract, but he's going to be there. He's going to represent for his team. Is holding out. He was sitting on the sideline the other day, not practicing, and there was he was there, but it was a heated exchange between him and new head coach Gerard Mayo, and Gerard Mayo basically kicked him out and said, "Get the fuck out of here if you're not going to play." So there's some heated shit going on there. What's his name? The defensive tackle for the Titans. That was a funny story. Jeffrey, not Simmons. Is it Jeffrey Simmons? Fuck. Let me look it up. Titans defensive tackle. Anyway, there was a funny story about that.
Jeffrey Simmons.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey Simmons was walking off of practice yesterday with the Titans, or the day before, whatever, and they had a player coming to join this live radio broadcast. And apparently the host of the show must be very critical of Jeffrey Simmons because Jeffrey Simmons just walked up to the table and started yelling and talking shit. And the guy's literally going, "Jeffrey, I'm live on air. If you want to have this conversation, we'll have this conversation another time. But let's be respectful of the people." And they were just going back and forth. It was a pretty good fucking exchange. If you get a chance to watch the clip, it's only like a minute or so long. It was pretty good.
What were they saying to each other? Did you get it?
You couldn't really hear Jeffrey Simmons, but he was basically, you could tell he was pissed at that host. The host was very good, and kudos to him for being live on air and keeping his composure because he literally was just
called him a pussy during a live broadcast.
Yeah, Jeffrey, the host is just like, he's like, "Jeffrey, this is unprofessional. We'll talk about this another time. I've invited you on the show. If you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on the show." And then he starts yelling and he's like, "Blah blah blah. I want you to talk. Back up your shit." And he's like, I'm talking to you right now, Jeffrey. I'm not avoiding you. You're welcome on this show anytime." Like the guy was so cool and calm. It was pretty good. And then he just turns to his guy and he's like, "So anyway, sorry about that. How are you today?" Like just carried on with his interview.
That's professional.
It's pretty cool
right there.
Yeah, if you get a chance, check that video out. It was pretty sweet. Also around the NFL, huge fight at Steeler training camp today. I don't know if you saw that. That was pretty fucking fun. I love seeing that. Russell Wilson. I forgot who the players were. But it was whole offense against the whole defense, like a huge fucking scrum. Russell Wilson hurt his calf pushing the sled and had to miss practice, and he was out there having a mock practice by himself the last few days. And now there's fights going on. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that George Pickens was getting yelled at by coaches and there was a heated fight. So things are falling apart in Pittsburgh, and I love every second of it. I couldn't be happier. Also, Rashad Penny, kind of a funny story for those of you that don't know. Rashad Penny was a draft pick by the Seattle Seahawks. Couldn't stay healthy, injury history, running back. I think he was with the Eagles last year for 1 year. Same thing, kind of fell out of the rotation. Signs with the Panthers, does an interview early last week and says, if I'm healthy, I'm one of the top backs in the NFL. And everyone's like, okay, those are strong words for a guy who's literally never been healthy. And then about 2 days after that quote, Rashad Penny retired from the NFL. So don't know what's going on with that guy, but that is a very, very peculiar situation, something you don't see every day, where a guy raves about how good he is and then retires within 48 hours or something like that.
Hang out with the family, man. Just wants to take the season.
Yeah, I respect it. And just, I want it on record here, George, that we made record time getting through all that, because we have cleared everything on the list with 10 minutes to go. And we could do a very long just the tip, I suppose, because we went a little too fast with all of that. I'll let Kyle lead it off. I'm sure you could take some good time with yours. I could take some time with mine as well. So we'll get right into just the tip. And you know what? Because of George saying we're going to go into overtime, maybe we just end this episode early to prove that we didn't need extra time. We actually needed less time. That's how good we are.
Yeah, that's how good. I mean, exactly. I knew I was never afraid. We could talk to Greg. We could talk to Greg for another 20 minutes. Honestly, we still got.
I feel bad. I feel like I cut Greg short, but there was also the problem. We tried to talk about the trade deadline. There weren't that many trades. There wasn't a lot of excitement in baseball. I was hoping for more. Really wasn't a lot. We covered everything.
All right, well, I'll get into my tip. I could talk a minute because it was a very emotional day. It's been a very emotional month for me. Obviously, all the bad stuff we talked about, but the good stuff is after finally 10 years, college football is back.
It's been a long 10 years.
College football video game, EA Sports, College Football 25 dropped this past, I think, 2 weeks ago. And I have been loving every minute of it. I don't know if you've had a chance to see people play it. I know you probably haven't played it yet.
I've seen clips. I'm waiting till we move. As soon as we move, literally the first thing I don't want to, no frivolous spending until I'm back from Germany.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But I have been playing it mostly every day. I'll play for like an hour or so. But the best part of the game to me, honestly, is taking that shit team, picking it and just drafting and sign not drafting, but recruiting players,
yep,
building your dynasty up and going from there. I think right now I'm season 2 with Toledo, a 1-star pedigree team. I'm currently up to 2 stars. I just recruited 3 or 4 4-star players, getting ready for my second season, so I'm pretty pumped about that. But honestly, man, it's just fun playing a game. I don't think I'm going to buy Madden this year. I think I'm going to pass because it's not going to top this game, and Madden every year is the same thing over and over again. So
George must have been sleeping.
It's all right. If you get a chance, get it. When you get it, you're going to love it. But just playing these different teams and they're on top of the updates. Like just the gameplay alone it's so college-esque. I mean, you can do Road to Glory. So you can, like, for example, like I started a Road to Glory thing as a quarterback. You have to make sure you're studying, your grades are kept up. You'll get random things throughout the year. Like I think one guy texted me and said, "Hey man, I got the answers to the quiz, or whatever. You want to take it? Do you want to?
So there's like moral dilemmas.
There is, because if you say yes and you get caught, you're ineligible. You can't play the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
And it's really in depth. They did a really good job. So I'm really excited it's out, and there's stuff I haven't even done yet. They have Ultimate Team for this. So like, they have Ultimate Team for Madden where you get cards of players and you build your team. So this is the same way, but you get like ultimate, like college players, current and past. So like, I think somebody the other day opened up a card for like Lamar Jackson for for Louisville. Right. And so like they're building a team around these old college players and stuff. It's really cool. I can't wait for you to get it. I think you'll like it, but my tip is if you haven't gotten it yet, go get it. You won't be sad. It's a good time.
I'm a huge fan of college football, the video game. I used to get it all the time. I used to have a little trick that eventually Walmart caught onto, but I would buy college football when it came out it would always come out first. It would come out in like July or June. Excuse me. I would buy it. I would play the fuck out of it. And then as soon as Madden came out, mind you, I was a kid, so I was broke. I didn't have money to just be like, I'll buy every video game. So I would buy it, play it for a couple of months. Then as soon as Madden came out, I would take it back to Walmart, say, hey, the disc doesn't work. They would give me another copy. And then I would go to a different Walmart and exchange it for Madden because it would still be sealed. Then they got wise and they started cutting the plastic off if you exchanged your game. So couldn't do it anymore. But
wow, you little thief, you.
That was a nice little trick that I did where I got to basically rent college football every year for a few months, and I would take it back and just say, hey, this disc doesn't work. Here's my receipt. Or I would sometimes go in without a receipt and I would just say like, yeah, it doesn't work. Could I just get another copy? And they'd be like, yeah, no problem. And then I grab it, I leave. And then again, I go to a different Walmart and I say, hey, I just got this for a birthday gift. I'd like to exchange it for Madden. And they go, okay, there you go. It was fucking awesome. I was so good at it. I think until I was like, right around when I was 18, that's when they started cutting the plastic. And I remember I like just cashed a paycheck and I was all excited. And the next thing I know, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to pay for Madden this year, which is not great, but they always get you. This is the first year where there's actual names on the players. Back in the day, it would just say QB number 13 or running back number 25 or whatever. And you knew who the player was if you were a college football fan, but they couldn't actually give them a name. You could, of course, it was a pain in the dick back then. You had to like hardwire with an Ethernet cable. You could upload a roster that somebody would do. You could get everybody their names, but it was too much work. I never did it.
I will say the one
cool
funny
no
thing
names.
about this is the recruitment is that a lot of the generated names are hilarious. There's some funny ones in there if you catch them. I think someone actually came across what's his face from WWE and College Game Day, the punter for the
Pat McAfee.
There was actually a Pat McAfee like player in there. It was just a random year of generation. I think the guy was in his 5th year with the team. And you go in and you start picking your prospects, right? And he came across this wide receiver named Pat McAfee, and it kind of looked like him. So it's just random, but the names are hilarious. On purpose too. Yeah, but the names are hilarious in there, though. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely be getting it. Like I said, as soon as I get back from Germany, once we get moved in, I will be playing for sure. I can't wait. Awesome. My tip for this week is a show that is super old, hasn't been on the air in years. Recently, the host of the show, Drew Carey himself, or the star of the show, I should say, was interviewed, and they asked him, they said, Drew, how come the Drew Carey show is not available for streaming? And I've known this forever, that they have a lot of licensing issues because they used a ton of music on the show and they couldn't get the clearance to use all those songs. So the Drew Carey show is only available on season 1 on DVD. That's all you can buy. They have one special edition DVD that has like 10 episodes for the whole series, but the whole series has like 250 episodes. So 10 episodes is nothing. But that's it. They couldn't get licensing rights to do any more seasons. So the show's never been put on DVD. It's never been on streaming. They don't have rights. So I was like, fuck, I love that show. I've watched it start to finish probably 2 or 3 times in my life. I used to watch it every week when I was a kid. I loved it because at the time I didn't get the jokes because it was dark, dirty humor, but I loved that it was based in Cleveland and he's a huge Cleveland sports fan. So I was like, this show's fucking awesome. There's a TV show about Cleveland. That was so cool. And then the older I got, I kept watching it and just loved it. So seeing him do that interview and hearing he said they're working on some things behind the scenes, it's possible it will be available on a streaming service soon, hopefully. Or he didn't say soon, but it could be, eventually. Led me down a rabbit hole on Reddit where I saw there is a Drew Carey show subreddit. And as soon as I went on there, somebody was like, hey, where can I watch a show? And a guy goes, here, click this Google Drive file. Boom. Every fucking episode remastered on there. You can watch it on your TV. I've been watching every episode. I am already into season 4.
Are you just mirroring it onto your TV?
No, so I do that in the basement. I mirror, but for my other TVs where it doesn't allow because I have a Fire Stick, so the Fire Stick doesn't allow you to AirPlay. I just go to the internet browser and I have the drive opened up, so I just click an episode and it plays right there.
Oh no shit! Obviously not HD and everything, but yeah.
No. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I've seen worse copies, so it's really awesome. I've been rewatching it. I'm already into season 4 because the episodes there's no commercial, so each episode's like 20 minutes. So I just throw it on as I'm packing and like doing shit. It's awesome to rewatch that show. If it gets on streaming, I'll probably watch it again. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's such a good show. I would
too. The fact that I was getting excited because when you put it up there, I'm like, maybe there's a way to watch it now because I didn't know what you said. I knew that I can't find it anywhere, but I didn't know the story behind it, which. Thinking back to the episodes and shows, there is a lot of music and a lot of shit.
There were like full dance segments and like, classic songs. Like you hear it and you go, okay, I know the song. This song's a classic from like, the 70s or something like that. So yeah, they couldn't get the licensing rights. So that's why you've never been able to stream the Drew Carey show. All right. Well, we started a minute late. So technically we have a minute left of going live, which we'll honor. So we've got 45 seconds here. I leave for Germany in 3 days. I'm gone from the 3rd till the 15th or 16th, whatever that Friday is, I'll be back. And then when we would be doing a show the 21st, that's my closing date for the house, assuming everything goes well with the inspections. So if I had to guess, gun to my head right now, we will not have a show on the 21st, maybe the 28th. But again, it all depends. If I'm trying to move, I don't know how unpacked I'll be. I don't know how ready I'll be for a show, but we will get one at least right before the football season starts. So we'll get all that taken care of. I apologize to everybody that likes watching the show. Thank you guys for sticking with us, even though we had to take a bunch of time off. Now we're going to take another few weeks off, but it is what it is. We're adults. We got shit going on.
And if anything, this shows
yeah.
a testament to the fact that we can cover sports in detail in still a 2-hour period. So
we rip through everything. So we will talk to you guys again, hopefully within about 3 weeks or so. Give or take 3 weeks. We'll see what happens. I'll keep everybody posted on social media. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with us. George, thank you for everything. He had to make a guest appearance there. I appreciate it.
Yep.
We will talk to everybody soon. And you got anything else, Kyle?
nothing, man. Safe travels, buddy.
All right, Cleveland, that was for you.